Yes, yes, yes. What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known, Obi, as that midday show. That is not Adara. That is your boy, Obi, and I am Sharif. And we already have a couple of OGs there in the chat. Shout out to Darwin, who's always dancing with that little dancing man there. He's got in the chat. Monty G joining us today as well. Brendan Townsend, Alex Enzo, Pitchbull, and Benson joining us as well. Good morning, Benson. Hope you are having a good day. Mikola as well. They're in the chat. She says, Adara, you look strange. Ronaldo, Jason Walcott, Soul Queen. We got Derek B and Saul G. Hamster One, the OG, Mateus Lane, Derek Thompson. We got Margin. We got the Pawns, the Fawns, No Lambo Trade, Michael Lewis, Kristen Noman, Aft, JF Trader. We got Borahout and Blue Arrow. Royal Dixon in the house. So is Taxi Driver. Brendan joining us as well. Stevie B. Almog is in the house. We got Alvin. We got Dan Gilman. I saw you talking to the Katina Man this morning. Hog Rider. Killacam 1020. What's up to you as well? And Susie Unuview and Market Sniper Obe. Good morning. How was your weekend?
Not too bad, not too bad. A little bit of rest, a lot of rest actually. I had like almost 10 hours of sleep last night. That was a little extended, a little overextended sleep.
Is it everybody that sits in your seat complain about sleeping too much? You and Adara.
I don't know about complaining, but it was definitely good. I'm happy I got a lot of rest. I went to like a buddy's wedding Sunday morning. Got back around like 6, and I was like, I'm gonna take a nap, and then that nap turned into a bit of a slumber. So you know.
Yeah. Ram says she should probably start sitting in that seat since she doesn't sleep at all.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And you and Adara seem to have excessive amounts of sleep. No. All right, guys, let's get to some trading, baby. Do you want to discuss any trades you have yet, or should I just start?
Yeah, you can go for it.
Okay, all right, guys. I took a quick Tesla trade. There you saw the Neil call it out. This was a low of day. You have to hold this level or I'm gonzino kind of trade. We got long 72s covered at 76s, 175, 72 covered at 76, and then the remaining shares broke even as this one. There it is. Flat bottom broke. Yeah, we're going to hit that animation right at the top of the show because it's true. It kept bouncing at 175.75, Katina Man, and then all of a sudden that level wasn't good enough for it anymore. So down and Huadunk goes. The Dynamite new low of day on TSLA. It goes by the number of 179.29, trying to hold at resistance level, support level 1 on pivots. Today, the pivot and the closing print on the Cybertruck, very, very close, essentially 177.50 on TSLA. But this one seems to, be headed to the downside on a day where the NQ is positive, up marginally 0.15. But you'll see, the likes of Meta, the likes of Softy and the Zon, as well as obviously NVDA look awfully bullish to kind of counteract that or contradict that. We have Google, Tesla, and Apple looking awfully bearish. Apple obviously went green to red in the pre as a result, I'm assuming, obviously, of some profit taking, some selling off, some, investors maybe unsure of what's going to happen after WWDC. I took an informal, kind of poll this morning with the co-workers and with the traders here on the floor, and everybody seems to believe that this is just the beginning for Apple. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what comes along. But I got to tell you, I'm very interested at these VWAP trades here, dips possibly on META into 496-ish, 495 3/4. It had a dalliance today with VWAP. I'm talking about META. Kind of the same look here with the soft one at 426-ish and change. A lot of bounces off the volume weighted average price there. Kind of the opposite look here with goggles. GOOGL, kind of very bear flaggish down into the right, and then the pops into VWAP have all been sold off, save and except for this one candle here at 1055, and then look what happened subsequent to that. Right down below the VWAP we go again on goggles. So I'm going to keep my eyes on the Mag 7 today, and we'll go over some of these small cap gappers once we hear what the OBE, the one, the Knob has to say.
Yeah, I haven't had too many trades so far, but getting a little chopped up on CrowdStrike. Apple still in the works here. Nice little sell-off. We know we're awaiting their event starting at in about like 40 minutes or so, or like in an hour roughly. CrowdStrike. I don't know. I feel like my stop on the initial trade was definitely a little too tight. I saw this pre-market high come in at that 372, got long above 374s, give it too tight of a stop, and it goes about 10 points in the money. I'm like, all right, well, you know, I gotta maybe play the reversion of that move now, and then when it does kind of come in off of that 384, I get short and then don't really cover it very well there as it slams all the way back down over 10 points back down to 372s, and then that might have tilted me just slightly, and then I just go on a bit of a chop fest after that, but. The day's still not over. Definitely has a lot more potential now. CrowdStrike is getting added to the S&P 500. Yes, had a little bit of a move after hours on Friday due to that. And of course, NVIDIA on watch as well. I didn't really take any shots at NVIDIA just yet. But NVIDIA pushing that 120, we saw that 1200 was quite a significant, or had some quite significant price action last week, and it's doing some interactions with that 120. It would seem. I was watching it a little earlier today. Nice little dip into 117s, recovers all the way back through the opening price as well, with a high of 122s as of right now. But you know, it's been split 10 to 1. I was expecting a little bit more volume this morning, but it seems like it's eyes may be in other places right now. But yeah, the NQ blasting up back through that 1900. We've been chopping and churning that 1900 over the past couple of weeks. But yeah, other than that, don't really have too much else on watch. We know that GME from last week, I got eyes on that. There's also that new IPO. Today is day 2.
Yep.
Way. I'm going to be watching that. There was a nice defense on 2050.
It's making a move right now.
What that's been doing. Oh boy, look at that. 21.45. So yeah, 21.50 was the IPO price. And last week what we saw was that there was some size that was sitting there at that 21.50, decrements about like 50% of it, and then comes right back in. So let's see if we can get past that 21.50 today on a day 2 move. That day 1 definitely defined some decent levels there on Waystar Holding. But yeah, other than that, I don't have too much on watch. I think a couple other names that were being added were GoDaddy and then KKR as well. Yeah.
All right. I just want to.
Yeah, let us know what you guys are watching as well, because I want to know if I've missed anything interesting. But yeah, eyes on Apple for that event is going to be pretty big today.
All right, yeah, we're going to have Apple, obviously, for you at 1 o'clock in the same way that we had the Catman's video on Friday as well. So we're going to do that, no questions asked. Obviously, we can't show it because of copyright reasons, but we'll be giving you live commentary. Big Kyle Burdett dropping his levels here. I want to read that out. SPY short against Friday's close. 7 of the 11 S&P sectors are flat or red. Financials getting hit. Dixie holding up at 10-year, moving up. He sent me an entire great analysis of the Dixie yesterday. Big Kyle, thank you for that. ES weaker than NQ, he goes on to say. 11:30 auction of some type. Before we get to that, I just want to verify the auctions so we can let you know exactly what's afoot. So it looks like we have the 3-year note coming at 1 o'clock. We do have a 3-month and a 6-month bill auction at 11:30, but those are much less followed by the market, and they're not as market moving as well. So 1 o'clock here. With the Apple WWDC event, we'll be getting that 3-year note, the shorter dated one. I don't keep eyes on the 3-year. Personally, I'd look at the 2-year, but that doesn't really matter at all about that. Ram, if I want to show here, F-Cell. I had an order sitting at 98 for the last little while. It didn't get filled because when we dipped down here on Fuel Cell, we didn't cross 98, so I didn't get my beak wet. But this looks like a dollar fight here on FCEL. And look, this has got a catalyst. It's moving up on news, 16 1/5, and the dance has been with VWAP. Even though VWAP has been in a kind of a random area, 97 pennies, it hasn't been at the dollar. So there's 2 areas of important levels here. That 97 penny, or not even 97, the VWAP area, because that's what is defending, and that $1 area. We spend a little bit of time above a buck, a little bit below. This is why Neil had me change my settings on my screener to have it at 85 pennies rather than $1 to filter out everything sub 85 pennies. rather than $1. So I could see moves like this one coming in. So I could have kind of advanced notice of them because there is a trade to be had at the dollar, whether as a breakout or whether as a resistance trade. F sell, definitely one I'm keeping my eye on, and one I know from all the way back during the pandemic, 2020, this thing was running with a lot of these other green names. I'm probably going to have to move up my dip trade from 98 pennies, a little bit above, if I want to get filled here, because it looks like I'm destined to go unfilled. We'll have to see exactly what we get. But we have a lesson, Ob. Yes, we do have a lesson. We are talking about continuation patterns all week long, but we're not going to talk about these run-of-the-mill, you know, your bull flags, your bull pennants, your ascending wedge. No. We've been through that too many times. We're going to talk about the more obscure patterns, Ob, the ones that don't come up that much, the ones that you got to get a special niche book in order to kind of get your not to get your hands on, but to understand. So the one we're going to talk about today is the up or the down thrust, depending on whether you're going long or short. It is a continuation pattern of interest. So let's get right to it. So technical analysis offers a variety of tools to identify potential trading opportunities. Up and down thrusts, though lesser known, are valuable continuation patterns that can signal a trend's resumption after a brief pause. Okay? This lesson explores how to recognize and trade these two-part patterns for intraday opportunities. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right to it. So understanding these up and down thrusts. Let's start with the up thrust. So what is it exactly? So it occurs within an uptrend. So you have to already be in an uptrend. Okay? It's characterized by a sharp price move upward followed by a brief pullback that doesn't erase the entire thrust. Perfect example is this. So this is kind of the upside down one here, right? Where this one is showing you, this is an up thrust bar, but it ends up being red. So this is a red candle. So it has the effect of changing the trend. Now, there are multiple setups for this one. This could have been a green candle, which would have been more appropriate after a period of consolidation, which shows you that this one can show up in many different contexts. So in this case, it ended up being a bit of a reversal pattern here, but that's not the point. Is to show you just kind of what it looks like. So that's the one there. So the down thrust occurs within a downtrend. It consists of a sharp price move downward followed by a small pullback, again, that doesn't erase the entire thrust. And so this is the kind of thing we're looking at right here. You have a nice long period of consolidation. You have a big red candle and a green candle to make that big move up. So this is kind of the thing we're looking for here. And you'll see that they point out that there is strong volume on this. We'll get to that in a sec as another confirmatory tool. So why are up and down thrusts relevant? So up and down thrusts help identify potential continuations of the prevailing trend after a short period of price consolidation. So what you want to see is an up move, a sideways move, and then a big move up to break out of that consolidation range. And the candle should be quite big. And then that's not where the end of it that's not where the end of it is. You need to see then a small red day or whatever, red candle if you're charting on the weekly or whatever, following that big green candle up. But it can't erase the entire move. It has to be sort of a bullish engulfing candle where that subsequent candle is entirely engulfed by the preceding green candle. So why are up down thrusts relevant? They also offer entry opportunities for traders looking to capitalize on the trend's resumption. So we knew that there was an uptrend, a long period or a period of consolidation, and then we get a break out of that consolidation area, and that is the kind of the indication for you that the trend, the uptrend, is resuming. So that's why it is a good entry area as well. So how do you identify these up and down thrusts? Specifically, what are you doing here? So number one, there has to be an established trend. You have to be able to ID an established trend, whether you're looking on the daily, whether you're looking on the weekly, or whatever it is, okay? The key element is an existing uptrend for up thrust or downtrend for down thrust. Use trend lines, obviously, or moving averages to confirm the trend direction. Kind of simple there. You should be able to do that. And then you need to be looking for a sharp price move. So look for a sudden or significant price move in the direction of the trend. Ideally, what's up, Neil? Everybody's talking about GameStop right now. It's at 26 even. Here we go. You want to cover that up because I don't have. Ram, you want to go to his chart real quick because I don't have eyes on GameStop.
Yeah, sure. I just pulled it up here. So I was not necessarily watching it right now, but yeah, it definitely is selling off quite aggressively, breaking through or attempting to break through Friday's low. Again, we talked about this ticker on Friday. We gave you a lesson on liquidity traps, and we were talking about some of these anchored VWAPs kind of being potentially significant from both the initial run-up and the run-up from last week, and we're trading below that. And I was like, yeah, well, if we're below some of these anchors, then yeah, we might get some selling pressure, as it kind of shows that the average long may be offside if price is below this, and we are getting some sell pressure to the downside here, opening up in and around that 30 mark just underneath, and now testing that day low at that 26. Earnings day one low as well, right? We know that they announced Friday pre-market that they had a surprise earnings report, and then they also announced they had a 75 million share offering that is also in the works. So now I don't think they really dealt with all of it in day one, and I don't think usually they're just gonna slap the bid with 75 million shares all day. I don't think that's how it works. But yeah, I think they might have an extended sell program, or whatever strategies they may be using. So we could continue to see this potential selling for the next few days, I think. But yeah, what we're seeing on the chart today is that we are making lower lows and lower highs, testing a fresh low on GME there, Sharif.
Okay, appreciate that, Ob. Just want to interrupt to bring that for you guys, obviously, because we know that this is a trading show in addition to a teaching show. So we gotta cover that. All right. So identifying the up and down thrust, Ram. First thing we look for, an established trend. So we're trying to spot the initial move. Second thing we're looking for, identifying up. We're looking for that sharp price move. So we're looking for price action. What is going on here? Yeah, there we go. Sorry about that. So then we're looking for a sharp price move. So you're looking for a sudden and significant price move in the direction of the trend. This initial thrust should be a strong candlestick with a clearer direction. It's even better if it comes out of a consolidation range. It's not a requirement. So sometimes you have these up thrusts out of our already trending stock that's making higher highs and higher lows. Sometimes you'll have a stock that was trending and now is moving sideways, and then you get the up thrust from the breakout of the consolidation area. So you have two variants of this one. You can look for either, okay? And then there's a stagnation zone here, right? What is this? Okay. So following the thrust, there's a brief pullback that forms a small bar with minimal price movement. This stagnation zone ideally shouldn't retrace more than 50% of the thrust, okay? So how are you going to trade these? So direction matters in this case. So up thrust suggests a continuation of the uptrend. So you're looking for long entry opportunities after the stagnation zone. The stagnation zone is another word for consolidation area. Conversely, if you're a bear, you could be looking for the down thrust. So you're looking for a signal continuation of a downtrend. That's what a down thrust is. So you're looking for short entry opportunities after the stagnation zone, this longer period of consolidation. And then you should also be looking, so you're looking for a breakout of that stagnation zone or a breakdown of that stagnation zone. And then your short will be on a closing basis below the break of that stagnation zone. Your long will be on a print on a closing basis above it. And then you should also be looking for volume confirmation. Kind of preface that a little bit earlier. Higher volume on the thrust bar compared to the volume on in the stagnation zone will actually strengthen the continuation signal. So when you get that big move out of the stagnation zone up or down, it should be on volume that on average is larger than the average volume for the candles in that stagnation zone. That's how you know that there's above average participation. And then for your entry and your stop loss, you enter the trade shortly after the price moves decisively out of that stagnation zone, whether higher or lower, and then you're placing a stop loss order just below the stagnation zone for the longs or just above the stagnation zone for the shorts. Hope that is pretty clear. And then some additional tips. You should be combining this with other indicators. So, while these up-down thrusts are valuable continuation patterns, using them alongside other technical indicators like the RSI or the MACD for a more comprehensive strategy will definitely help you out. And then the issue of false breakouts up and down below that stagnation zone is an ever-present issue. You can try to avoid or try to kind of put the odds back in your favor by using other technical indicators, but you have to be aware of these breakouts from the stagnation zone that can be false. Manage risk effectively by using appropriate position size in this case, guys. So I hope that helps, and we shall get to that lesson a little bit later on the hour. So quickly here, back to FSEL. There's definitely a seller at 102 that's been leading for a while. As you can see here on the book, there's all sorts of size here on that 102 area, and there's not enough volume to support the move. Guys, this is a $1-ish name, and it's already done 40 million shares on the day, which isn't all that much, to be quite honest with you. So I don't know if I'm going to continue to keep eyes on this, but I'd still like the VWAP dip trade if that would be a possibility, but we're going to have to keep eyes on that open.
Yeah, I really like that lesson. We got a question here, Sharif, by Almog, saying that do you wait for the pullbacks on those thrust moves? Because I think what you're suggesting is that it thrusts, it doesn't really pull, it doesn't really kind of fail the bar, and then it's a continuation kind of pattern there. So yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting question because I think that would be specific to you. Like, for example, I like to pretend I'm a trend trader, right? But when I'm pretending I'm a trend trader, I don't get in at the highs. I actually wait for key area retracements, whether that's a 10-period retracement on the 5 or a 20-period. So personally, I like to take breakouts, but I like to take them on retracements. I'm not going to punch in at highs, but that doesn't mean you can't, right? And that doesn't mean Adair won't. So I think that becomes a personal preference type of thing. But I hear what you're saying, Almog. If you're worried about the false breakout, perhaps include more technicals that help you check more boxes that this is a continuation pattern rather than maybe trying to adapt a trading style that is not yours. So if Almog, if you don't like retracements to get long on a trend, that isn't your modus operandi. It is mine, though. So maybe you want to incorporate some other technicals. I don't know. I hope that helps, but yeah, let me.
Yeah, no, I like that. I definitely agree with that. I kind of wait for the pullbacks as well more often than not. I find that if I am chasing, then things don't necessarily go as well as I'm looking for. Again, you guys saw on CrowdStrike a bit of a chase, pretty much on every entry that I chased. Didn't really work too well, but on the ones that I was kind of a little bit more patient for, wait for the trend to kind of change, then those ones definitely worked out a little bit better here. But yeah, NQ and ES both pushing for their highs right here. I am in an Apple long. Nice. I don't think the position board has updated just yet until I take another position. But I am watching CrowdStrike also, right? CrowdStrike still, like I said, still opportunities on the ticker, I think. I was trying to short it back into VWAP, but maybe we'll get that move now. 383, kind of this consolidation high with a day high at just above at 383 halves right now. But yeah, you can see that it's kind of consolidating, holding above VWAP, potentially catching a bid. Again, it's getting added to the S&P 500. I think June 24th is the date. And yeah, we might be seeing a little bit of a bid in and around VWAP over the next few days, leading up into that S&P edition right there. But yeah, as you guys can see, I got my little arrows here on the Apple, and a little long here at what's my price here? 195.61. So just pretty much in and around this area right now where it's trading at. VWAP right here, just in and around 195.80s here I have on this chart, and 195.91 on this trading view chart over here. And yeah, let's see if we can get a retracement towards VWAP. Market is quite strong as of right now. But yeah, let us know what you're trading. People are saying BTC nearing 70K. Huh? Okay, let's take a quick look at Bitcoin real quick. Bitcoin 70. Okay, oh boy, right there. Only about a few points off of that, 150 points off of that 70,000 mark. So let's look at a higher time frame on this one. You know what? We'll just go straight to the 3-hour on this one and see what has been going on with the BTCs. So yeah, as you guys can see, I got an alert here at the all-time highs. It would seem. Right there at that 73,835 mark, and we've been kind of consolidating sideways since the beginning of March when we did hit that price. Yeah, we did pull back all the way down to 56, and then come right back into 70s. But again, being crypto, being the price that it is, this asset definitely has some decent fluctuations. But if you kind of measure it out, it's only about a 20% pullback, and then coming right back into that 70. So it does seem like we may be building up into some of those highs. But yeah, taking a look at the weekly here. Oh boy, yeah, this breakout was quite nice there off of these lows. But yeah, we are pushing and holding some of these prior highs from 21 and 22 as well on the Bitcoin. And let's see if we're kind of poised. We do look a little poised to break some of those highs as we are holding this trend quite well on the Ponzi itself. So we'll see what happens on this ticker here. But I'm curious to know what some of the some of the tickers that trade around the movement of BTC are doing. So let's take a quick look and a rundown through some of those tickers. So we'll start off with Coinbase first. And Coin, very strong off of the open. 240, 239.55 is the day low on Coinbase, and pushing into 250 right now. So 250 might be interesting, as it was that consolidation high going into the close on Friday. Quite a heavy sell-off on Friday as well, but a little bit of a bid picked us up right underneath that 250 and then slammed all the way back down into 240. So let's see what we do in and around that 250, as Coinbase has had a strong trend all morning long. Now, shout out to Pat here. We're gonna check out Mara. Mara, what has been up with Mara today? Let's see, 1879 day low with a high just underneath this 20 mark. 1885, 1884 seems like the high on the day. But again, similar kind of pattern here from Friday. Pretty much a strong sell-off into the close, and we are holding above consolidation highs, it would seem, or end-of-day consolidation highs on Mara as of right now. Now, this name has been quite interesting. Has been kind of chopping in between this 21 and change and 19 and change over the past week or so, and it seems like we're still holding well within this range here. Now, I'm just going to check out this last one, MSTR. MicroStrategy, we know that they hold the Bitcoins as part of their business model. So yeah, a little bit of a strong trend. Again, we're seeing a similar pattern here. End-of-day consolidation on these names that came off of quite a strong sell-off there. But nice little bid up. Back recovering through some of these levels. That consolidation high from Friday just coming in at 1627, and we are kind of trending above that and holding above that as of right now. Quite a strong trend here on MSTR as well. What do you got? What are you looking at?
Well, Neil's just alerting me to the fact that GameStop is really making a down move here. Here comes 25 bucks. I think we were just talking about 27 or whatever there. I mean, and here we go. This has been one hell of a move down. Nice rounded top, save and except for these two candles over here. These were the bamboozlers. Otherwise, that rounded top, pattern is just, uninterrupted. This candle over here at 1040, this is called a specialist breakout. They force a lot of people who are waiting, with their stops on the other side of VWAP, they force them out, and then it ends up moving right back right back down again, excuse me. Who they are, I don't know, and I don't care. The point is, this is something that we see repeated a lot with heavily traded names, these specialist breakdowns or breakouts. They're quite fleeting, and they have a purpose. Here comes 25.11 new LOD on GME right now. I'm not saying 25 is going to be an area of support or whatever, but this is a bigger move down, 11% in the negative now. Are we? It's not a halt or anything. No. No, we're good. We're good at this level, 25.11. This thing is headed down. I don't have any shorts for this. I'll look in a second to see how much those bad boys will cost me. But right now, it is at low of day, so keep an eye on that. I was just talking to Adam DeLuce in the chat, and he's like, hey, man, have you had an opportunity to kind of test out your retracement analysis? Because I just finished making the point when Ob was asking me about what Almog was asking, and I told him, you know, I like to take out breakout trades, but I don't like punching in at highs, so I like a retracement. So Adam was like, look, have you tested out your retracement strategy? And I said very specifically, I always look to see what exponential moving average that name is respecting on the day. Is it the 10, the 20, the 50? What is it? If it's not anything that day, I will not use the moving average. It's not like, you know, it's going to start employing itself for my purposes here. So if there's no respect with the moving average and the name on the day, I won't use it. The other thing that I do though, Ram, is when I don't see confluence here or I don't see respect with any of these moving averages on the 5, I'll go to my man's time frame over here, and everybody who watches watches the show knows that Obi likes to look at the 15. So then I'll look to see, is there respect with the 50, for example, on the 15. Here's GameStop's. And this is beautiful. Another rejection, double top rejection of the 50 period on the 15-minute chart. When I look at the 5 on GameStop, what do I see? I see local retracements at the 10. So I would be kind of, you know, more, I guess, more inclined to want to use the 10 or on the 5 or the 50 on the 15 because I do see respect for it on the day. So I just want to make that point clear. If you're looking at getting in on retracements, whether on a long or a short, just make sure that the instrument you're trading on the day has respect for the indicator that you want to use. If it doesn't, if it's not jiving with it, well, why are you using it? It's not going to just employ itself for your purposes so that you don't use money, really. Right? 25's gone, guys. 24 2/3. This string is really moving here. We're about to hit 24 1/5. Thank you, Neil, for that. I do appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate that, Neil. Thank you. So I do have shorts now for GameStop vis-a-vis the real deal, Neil. 24.58 low on GME. I'm going to look, obviously, for a better entry rather than punching in at lows. Some of the other names that I have for you on the day in terms of small cap gapper world, BNAI. This one had a great day Friday. It was a bit of a Christmas tree retracement. We really got going there at the open from the closing print just north of 4. I think it was like 407. Shut it to the highway, and we got all the way up to 518. No one from Toronto is going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Only people from Toronto are going to know what I'm talking about, or the, you know, the Southern Ontario. 518, Southern Ontario. 518 high on BNAI on Friday, and lo and behold, we get to south of 5 1/4, 523, and that becomes another top. But here's the thing. We're not doing that Christmas tree upside down V retracement on BNAI today. No. In fact, it does look like it's making incrementally higher lows, despite the fact that that flat top at $5 is, you know, a key area of local resistance there. I won't be convinced otherwise. $5, there is a seller. However, be aware, higher lows on BNAI. Does this thing have a catalyst? Let me just find out for you guys real quick. Not like it really needs one because it was moving big boy on Friday. It does no catalyst from today, that's fine. So BNAI was going. I've already mentioned FCell. That one is still doing things. MLGO, this one was moving there. You can see at the bell after really dumping on Friday. Now this one looks like a short off VWAP off that 5 2/3. Ever since breaking above it, it has been using the volume weighted average price as that key area of resistance. All the pops into VWAP have sold off on MLGO. So I'll keep eyes on that. We're at 19.1 right now on the future on the NQ June contract. Just touched 19.1. We were above 19.1 on Friday, so this is not all-time highs. We got into that general 19.150 area. But yeah, 19.1. Keep your eye, obviously, no question about it, at the 100-point areas, both as support and resistance on the future, no doubt about that. Closing print on Friday, 19.037 OB.
Yes, sir. So it's about 11:30. So my question is, what else might be moving and what is doing some volume today? So the morning session kind of coming to an end here. So let's see. Let's go through a quick scan here of the volume leaders on the day and see what has been going on across these markets here. So some of these names, of course, we have seen already, we've been watching, but NVIDIA, quite a strong trend off of some of these lows, 117, pushing into day highs there. You can see that 4 a.m. candle high, 22.90, 122.90 right there. We're trading only about 30 pennies away from that, and a strong quadunk happening here, pre-split, but a split adjusted price is high, 125.59 there on NVIDIA. So yeah, quite a strong trend there. Let's see if this trend kind of holds. Volume may be potentially dropping off here, but 9 minutes and 40 seconds left for this 15-minute candle to finish printing. So we got a good chunk of the 15 still left to print on that one. GME we've been talking about broke below that 25, just as Sharif covered it right there. So 24.50 trading right now, trading below some of these levels from last week as well, where we got that secondary pop into those 40s, and then 40s and beyond as well. 67, I think, yeah, 67.50 was the high pre-market or after hours. Pre-market and after hours roughly on Thursday night and Friday morning there on GME. What is DSY? Doing quite a bit of volume here. So I guess this is one of those small cap runners.
Yeah,
it would seem
yeah.
right off the bat. It doesn't even tell me what. Okay, so the market cap right now is at 9.5 million. So definitely a smaller cap for sure on this name here. Are you guys trading DSY today? It looks quite interesting here, but again, I don't really dabble as much in the small caps, so I don't really have eyes on this one. But I bet this is definitely doing some RVOL today. The RVOL not really showing up here on DSY, but AMD, another name again of interest there. 160-day low with a 165 high as of right now.
165 high.
165 high, trading at 62.73s right now. So what's going on, Sean? Sean is passing over.
Read what it says about AMD.
AMD 165.
SS means short sell.
Short sell downgrade watch. Okay, all right, nice. So yeah, it tops out right there at 165 halves and pulls back over 3 points right there into, well, maybe not 3 points just yet, but 162.70 is trading right now on AMD. So shout out to Sticky Note Nation there. Sean killing it with the sticky note calls there. All right, so the next one, Ford. Ford is up on the day as well, doing some relative volume. Interesting. Did they have news today, Sharif?
I looked, dude. There's nothing.
There's no news, but it's doing some relative volume there. It would seem. I think this anchored might be off of prior earnings there, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, we kind of hold that right off the open, break some prior week's highs as well. But that volume coming in right off of the open. So yeah, let us know if you guys know what's going on with Ford. But Ford doing a strong move on some significant RVOL, pushing about 2.8, 2.3, almost 3x RVOL. Now this RVOL I have on my chart measures off of 5 periods. So just to let you know, 5-period RVOL on Ford is elevated right now. HBAN, interesting. Huntington Bank shares, a bit of a sell-off there. What's going on?
Here it is. Sorry, thanks for that, Neil. Here is the Ford headline, guys. Biden administration set to scale back ambitious electric vehicle targets after concerns raised by the United Auto Workers and automakers is the report. We know that per one Mach-E that Ford produces, at least as of last year, they were losing about $35,000 per car. Again, a lot of that is government regulation to speed up the adoption of EV sales. Maybe the electric vehicle, or sorry, the car companies didn't really want to be forced into it as quickly as that because it wasn't profitable for them. So we'll have to wait and see. In any case, whatever you want to make of this headline, Ford is up 2 1/3%. 12.5 seems to be a bit of a top right now on the American legacy automakers. So keep your eye on that if you want. It's done about 27 million shares of volume on the day. I'm along the Zon at these levels here, and this was a general consolidation area hold as well as a 20-period hold. I'll be looking to wet my beak soon on some profits. I also still have a dip trade on this, so this was a planned DCA. I see Meta, guys. Meta's at 500. I'll get to it in 1 second. But this was a planned DCA, so I'm looking to defend the 20 period in that 186 area. Reason I want that 186 area is because it was a consolidation area before we really broke above it. So if we hold at this level, I do want some smoke. How much smoke, we'll have to wait and see. There we go. We got the print nicely in the money there. But now, time to cover the Zuck train, the Zuckerberg train. Shout out to him. He's been doing real well over the last couple of years after that $80 or $88 low in October 2022. Don't think I forgot about that. Now printing 5 hundos, definitely not at recent highs. We got well higher than that prior to earnings, but right back above 500, I think, since earnings. Let's go and double check that that's accurate. 4-hour chart, there it is. That was the earnings dump, and we have not been above 500 since May 24th, or sorry, April 24th, get it together, Sharif, when Meta reported. So right into that 500 area now, and we're doing the dance with no pants with 500 at this level. So we're gonna have to see how this ends up turning out. When it hit 500 initially, I looked right over to Neil. I'm like, topping tail on Meta at 500, and you did get a topping tail, but the market didn't. You know what about the topping tail? It's like, all right, I'm going up, baby. 50.43, and then you make another 5-minute candle, not one, 5-minute candle to make a new high, and here's another 5-minute candle that just made a new high. 502/3 now, excuse me. Meta is going. Meta has strength right now. It is really printing. What a flat top break through that general 498 area. 501.25 now. Meta squeezing 1 2/3 in the clear. Not that much volume, but Meta never really does that much volume. 3 3/4 milli on the day. This is the only headline I see here for Meta and the Zuckerberg train. Meta platforms to use social media posts from Europe to train AI. We already know that's aggravating the Europeans to no end. We know that because the Europeans are so, privacy sensitive more than we are on this side of the Atlantic. So they're looking at going after Meta, obviously, but this obviously does help train their models, but at what expense? Because it's going to irritate the regulator. So we're going to have to see how this is going to play out. Right now, the market loving everything they have to hear from Meta. 501.25 now, HOD on the Zuck train. Great move here, up 1 2/3. We'll keep covering the Meta train there. Go Amazon. All right, nicely in the money here, 30 pennies we're going to cover there on Amazon. We took that bad boy long at 23s and we just covered at 60s. So decent trade here on the Zon. This, again, really the only reason for this trade was this consolidation area low here. I said to myself, Sharif, it's going to be this 186 and a fifth or 186 even, because that consolidation zone had about a 20 penny range on a closing basis. Forget about the wicks. And so I did literally get bottom right there, but I bet you this move up on the Zon has more to do with the strength on the market than it really does with Amazon today, but that doesn't really matter. So anyway, Amazon on the way up, Meta on the way up, even the soft one is on the way up today, not that aggressively, up 0.86, but it's a good looking chart pattern there. All the closing prints really holding at that 10 period on the 5. You are getting wicks south of that though. You need to account for those wicks in your stop placement. We're awfully close here to HOD on MSFT, 472.84. We were printing 472.50s, about 30 pennies from high a day on a 400 some odd dollar name. Goggles just woke up here. Wake up, Goggles. And the thing about this one, OB, it's putting in incrementally higher lows, not by much, but incrementally higher lows all the way, and doing the dance here with that looks like the 50 period on the 5. We'll have to see if Goggles can wake up and start moving towards those highs. 19.102 now, HOD on the NQ June contract.
Yeah, that 19.1 test, I was watching it, that breakthrough, Sharif, definitely brought in some of that strength on the market. And I do like the ample amount of green candles there in this forest called Amazon here. Look at the 5-minute, the 15-minute as well. I was watching this, I was like, damn, like this is holding prior, like your entry right there is right right on top of that prior day high. So it's like that's solid right there. We pulled back right into prior day highs, and we're getting that push off of that little dip there. So maybe a little bit of a thrust happening on that right there. So we get a nice little push and pulls back. Doesn't really violate that pullback, and it comes right back in. So let's see if we can break that 187 on the Amazon as the market thrusts to the upside there, breaking past that at 19.1, right? We keep on talking about that 19 level being a little interesting. We've been orbiting in and around that price over the past couple of weeks or so, and I'm looking at the spider as well. Spider 534.60 is pushing day highs as well. So let's pull that one up right here. So yeah, kind of very similar to the ES obviously, but Spider's prior day high is 536.90. So quite a ways to go. Let's see if we can break that 535 as well. A little bit of an interesting level, kind of that. In the middle of the trading range from Friday. You can see that Friday was quite choppy there, and I see that Apple is pushing to its lows right there. So my position might be looking a little bit in trouble there as 19.1 takes a bit of a pullback here. So how much time is left in this 15-minute candle to print, you may ask? It's about 15 minutes because we just started that, so only 30 seconds have passed. But Softy looking quite a little distinctly different from the rest of them, as it is pushing highs as well. NVIDIA with a 122.90, huh? You know what? Maybe I want to pull up some NVIDIA here and take a look at this one. So let me take Amazon off my screen right now and pull up some NVIDIA, as I am kind of looking to dabble into this name a little bit here as it pushes towards, again, it pushes quite heavily, quite strongly off of that morning trend, and now we're taking a bit of a pullback here with that 15-minute prior bar kind of breaking as of right now. Something I do want to note here, I'll pull this chart in as I speak about NVIDIA. So something I do want to note is that 4 a.m. candle high. Now I know a lot of people don't necessarily look at that 4 a.m. candle, but I do like to look at it sometimes as in a low liquidity environment, some volume might come in and we ping both sides. And I'm like, huh, interesting that it stops where it does on both sides. So 119, we kind of reclaim that, and the high being at 122.90, it would seem. So maybe this is potentially a little bit of the backside of the move there. But you know what? I do kind of want to get involved potentially on this ticker. So I will do that there as well. So what is, okay, cool. Yep. So a little short here, just underneath that 122. Let's see if that comes in. If that 19.1 takes a bit of a pullback here, market has been quite strong from 1900 all the way into 19.1. So can we take a bit of a breather here just below that 19.1 is a question I am asking. The trend is your friend until the end where it bends, right, Sharif? So
absolutely.
Yeah, that's I think that's how the saying goes there. Apple stops me out on that flush right there, back through that 195.20. So bye-bye Apple. Didn't really work. Was looking for the reversion, but that reversion doesn't really come in as we've been consolidating for quite a while here on Apple. Now going into the event, potentially can be a sell the news event. So who knows? Maybe the long is not the right way to kind of trade that ticker right now. But I will be watching as we kind of near into that event. You said now it starts 1 p.m. our time. Okay,
yes, sir.
So yeah, it says 10 a.m.
Pacific,
on their website there, as I remember correctly. But yeah, so
Cupertino.
Cupertino,
California. It's
okay,
like
is that where
Silicon Valley.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So it's Pacific time. I was talking to Joe back there, and apparently you guys were looking at TSM today. The floor was looking at TSM because it's on a rampage right now.
Okay, I haven't really looked at TSM.
3% Ram.
Holy wow! Look at that. That's a trend.
And apparently there is big boy size at 170, and 170 still hasn't touched. HOD on TSM right now 169.58, and apparently there is big boy size at that 170, so we'll have to see if Taiwan Semi can, number one, make it up to 170 so we can see what the dance will be between buyers and sellers at that level. Number two, Taiwan Semi is a second day play. I mean, they reported last week way better than anticipated I don't know if it was earnings or what they were forecasts or whatever. Anyway, we know that they are making the great majority of NVIDIA's chips and likely will make AMD's as well as the other players as well. Here we go. It's at day's high as we speak, Ram, 169.59. This thing is at HOD, so we're going to have to keep eyes on this one. 6.5 million shares done today. This thing is up 64% year to date. Taiwan Semi, wow, unbelievable, great. Wow. Do you know how much the market cap is on Taiwan Semi? We're inching in on 1 trillion. We are 729 billion. So, that's inching in on the trillion.
Yeah, no, this is what NVIDIA hit the 3 trillion sometime last week.
Yeah, it keeps hitting.
I think 1206 was 12,006 was that price, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, no, it's interesting. It only seems like yesterday when we were like, oh, the first $1 trillion dollar move, and then it was Apple, and then now they're all pushing, like, I think softies over 3 trill, and then NVIDIA and Apple as well. So that's interesting that TSM's kind of following along and pushing that mark as well. But yeah, that's quite a strong trend on TSM there. Not really doing too much relative volume either on this move up. Quite a strong trend. So I will definitely be keeping an eye on this one to see if and when that trend kind of breaks, or will it at all on TSM. So I don't know if they have any news, but I guess I'll.
No, it was from last week. Remember how I was saying it was like the post earnings or guidance or whatever that they talked about. I'll give the news headline here. So that was from the 5th. Here it is. Give me a sec. There it is. TSM May revenue rose 30% on year 2. That's new Taiwanese dollars. Ram. New Taiwanese dollars to 229.62 billion new Taiwanese dollars. That is not actual American dollars, but yeah, you can do the conversion there. In any event, it is up big, and I've already put an alert a little bit ahead of that 170 area. Put it 169, high 80s, so I can be alerted to it if it makes its way up there, so we can definitely have a look and see what is going on between buyers and sellers there. But wow, Meta, there it goes right back into high day again. 501.58. The Zuck train right back above 500, baby. Hasn't been there since that late April dump on earnings, and people were disappointed with how much Zucksters was spending again on that kind of metaverse whole thing. But now there's a whole AI kind of angle to this, so it's not just about the metaverse. Guys, we did hit 400 on that earnings dump there. We didn't hang out there for that long, and it was more of a quick algo wick than anything else, but we were hanging out in the low 400s there for multiple days. That is essentially from the April 24th dump to May 1st, and then we really started heading up May 1st. So we had a bit of a consolidation phase there on Meta, not for long though. All right, so that's the look there. Now, people yelling about Apple again. Apple rejected off the 20. So there's been a bit of a dalliance with the 10 and the 20 today. These two candles here, 1120, 1125. The deeper ones got into the 20, and lo and behold, we rejected off the 20 again. But I want eyes on 195. Because I think that's an interesting level. There was all sorts of buying there at 195 earlier when we touched it initially from 10, and then you see it got defended all the way to 1025. The buyers were like, no, 195 is good enough for now. But, you know, 195 could give way any day. This name is going to be on a lot of people's watch list today, no doubt about it, because that WWDC starts in exactly 1 hour and 8 minutes. Okay, so it starts at 1 o'clock. It's 11:52 right now. It is 10 a.m. California time. That's when it starts there. All right, so that's the look. Goggles made it back into the 50 here. We were talking about these incrementally higher lows, and now higher highs on goggles. Okay, so Google, you know, definitely very bear flaggish. I'd be looking for a continuation downward on this one. I'd be looking to play it off these areas of support and resistance until Google can show me that it can change out of this trend. But this is what I'd be looking at, Google. It's, you know, weak on the day, and I'd continue to play it that way until something really changes. Yeah, not much else for me at these levels. I talked about Softy coming into highs as well. At Amazon, we had that trade on. It's continuing to print higher. Tesla, if I can mention this one real quick before we throw it to the one that can it's been a 10 or a 20. Take your pick on the 5. rejections. Initially, we were kind of making it into VWAP, but that was in the more volatile time of day. Now, really, it's just kind of look, which the shallow retracements come into the 10 and the deeper retracements come into the 20. I'd be hanging out at the 20 just to get a better entry. But it looks like, you know, we're destined maybe touch 175 on the day. The low on the day is 175.29. So we'll see if we can continue to print down here on the Cybertruck.
Yeah, this market super strong there. So we did reclaim that 19.1 there. So I was looking for a little bit of some relief if we did get back below 19.1, but it seems like we are still going there. And I am. Thanks for bringing my attention to that TSM. There is about I see like 1,000 lots, probably just a little bit over as well on that 170, so let me just pull that up here on the tape so you guys can see and throw that filter on as well. So okay, so when that 170 comes in, we'll see it. Yep. There is some size sitting up there, so let's see what we do in and around that size. NVIDIA still holding, so I did kind of chase a little bit on the break, but we'll see. I'll give this a little bit more room to see if we kind of pull back in. But that 19.1, oh boy, is it running there. And Goggle, yes, sir, it is pushing for that consolidation high as well on the Goggles. So if that kind of starts to break there, Apple also making higher lows there off of some of its prices. So let's go over to Apple. I did get a little long on Way here, as Way did break that 2150. It goes up to 2153. So this was the IPO price, right? 2150. It was slightly defended on Friday, and now we are holding and pushing above, or holding in and around or above that 21.5 as of right now. So you can see 2153. So pushing for higher days. They're fresh highs, all-time highs. Again, it's only 2 days old, so we shall see where Waystar Holding Corp kind of gets to there. 170 on TSM, pulling back a little bit off of there. So let's see what we got in store for that one. Goggle, yes sir, it is breaking that. So let me just pull up that chart right here to show you guys what I'm talking about here. Get some of those lines out of the way. So yeah, right there, this consolidation that we've been doing all day, which kind of is holding below last week's closing prices, as it came down quite heavily in and around the 74 and change, 174. And there goes Goggle to the upside, blasting off, making some fresh highs. Let's see if we can get to 174 on the Goggle there. Amazon as well there, Sharif. I think you're, are you still in that Amazon?
No, I covered. Okay. I took it all out.
All right, yeah, so it's pushing for that 187. Let's see if that 187 comes in on the Amazon. I am watching that one closely as well. I may or may not get involved in the Amazon today, but we shall see. It might be, I do want to take a swing on a vine back down, back down towards VWAP right there. So let me show you guys what I'm talking about here on the Amazon itself. So VWAP is all the way at 185.66. So we've done quite an extensive move there. But again, if the market's going to stay strong and we're going to stay a little bit continuing above this 19.1, and look at this. Prior to our lows on this 15-minute have not been violated since we kind of held this 1900, and we've been pushing up there. So maybe I'll be looking for a change in behavior potentially to see if that can come in there. 169 halves printing as of right now on TSM, so it seems like we might be a little bit longer before we get into that 170. I'm curious to know whether or not we take off that size there. SPY pulling back off of 535 as well. So 535, we kind of talked about that being a little bit of the middle, in and around the middle of the range from Friday. So maybe we are poised for a bit of a pullback. Again, it's getting to 12 o'clock there, Sharif. So when will this strong trend take a bit of a breather? I have no idea, but I definitely want to react to it for a potential reversion if that will come in. If not, that's perfectly fine as well. Oh boy, is that 120 lots there on
TSM?
No, on the NVIDIA. Let me just, is that highlighted? Okay, cool, right there. So 190 lots right there. So maybe not that significant of a size, but definitely want to be watching for that at 122.41 sitting on the NVDA. So we're getting a bit of a pullback here on the NQ, again with so about a minute 40 left on the 15-minute chart, and we're starting to wick a little bit here, but we've also wicked from the bottom side, so maybe a little bit of an indecisive candle here happening. Amazon with a bit of a pullback. Hello. All right, so let me take a quick look at that one. I'll pull that one up right here. Maybe it's time for some of that some of that vine swinging, some Freudian slips as well. Might be time for wine. I don't know.
It's a Monday, homie. We just started the week. Yeah, I love it. Shout out to Jay Lee. There he is. I was trying to get GME long at 24.52, but it bounced off 24.60. Now up 25 cents. Oh, well. Yeah, right now. Look, Jay, I got to tell you, I was thinking short here. Katina Man, what's your look on GameStop? Are you looking at it? The Katina Man short 25. So I got to agree. I was thinking short, Jay. I got to tell you the truth. I hope you print, obviously. That goes without saying. But I'm seeing weakness here, Jay. I got to tell you, it couldn't even make it up to the 10 period last little pamp there. When prior to that, it was touching the 10 period and rejecting off it. These last two candles over here that bounced us off 24 and a third into back into 25 and a quarter, they didn't even touch a 10 period. So I'm seeing more weakness come into GameStop over here. Obviously, as the Katina Man said, you know, we don't take any specific pleasure in shorting this, knowing that other people are long, but a trade's a trade, and the fact of the matter is it looks weak here. So I'm going to be looking at GameStop. It continues to make lower highs and lower lows, all the while knowing full well the bamboozlement in this name. It is fast, it's furious, it's real, and at any moment in time, the trend can change and push me out. So we'll look for a better entry here on GameStop. But Jay, let me know if you see anything different, distinctly different.
Distinctly different.
Shout out to the one that can hope. All right, there was another individual who pointed out KWE to me in the chat, and it looked a lot better when they pointed it out initially. I just wanted to mention it here. This one was a penny stock, started out its life today at 40 pennies. It touched $1.16. It's still up 131.32%. So put some respect on its name, I guess. 7 2/3 million market cap, tiny to say the least. 184 million shares traded on the day on KWE. It is an early commercial stage technology company. I'm not even going to bother reading any more than that. The float, 7.7 million shares. And let's find out what the short float is, if any. Shout out to the NOS boss and his crew. And if you want what I'm using right here, go into the Trader TV or Trade Ideas and use code TraderTV20 for 20% off. 2.15% of the float is short, so kind of negligible for KWE. Double top, you could say, basically through that $1 area. I want to see if it holds, number one, VWAP. It can't hold $1. It's already below $1. Let's see if it can hold up at 85 pennies or so. That's where VWAP is. Otherwise, I'd be looking for a break of this middle part over here around 60 pennies, which is the low of day for the completion of the double top. Usually you're looking for the middle V part break there, but it looks a little bit like a U, not a V. So that's the look there. FCell still doing its thing above $1. Nothing really to talk about. But look at GameStop right back down into the low of day, 24.20. Again, it's trading, you know, just a skosh above that low of day. So I've got shorts on this bad boy, thanks to Neil. But, you know, I'm not going to be punching in at lows. There goes the lows, 24.14. Yeah, no stopping this one from any lower, guys. It's going to continue to sell off, it looks like, here until somebody steps in. We'll see. Shout out to Katina Man, who's short 25s there. He's printing on that. There we go. We got the dollar. You need some help on NVIDIA. Guys, he's long at 118. He's asking for help. I mean, like, he's trying to troll us here. That's what he's doing. I'm just teasing you. I know. Look. He's thinking about 121.60. I gotta agree with him. I mean, basically, this yellow line over here, that's a 20 period on the 5, Katina, man. That's exactly it. Yeah, shout out to him, baby. There you go. The dude's printing on this one. He's got it all the way from down here, literally, at almost the low of day. He's got it $1 higher than the low of day. I mean, yeah, shout out Sticky Note Nation. Shout out to the Katina Man, baby. And if you don't know that you can follow along the Katina Man's trades, and let me disabuse you of that lack of information right now, baby. Ram, can we hit the more Trader TV thing after we're done that? Because the Katina Man, the Neil, all their positions are on More Trader TV Live, another channel that we've got. There you go, Katina Man, long 118.02. On NVIDIA on the right, you can see Neil long FCell and Palantir, short Intel and AMC. And there is a Katina Man short on GameStop right there. You'll be able to see everything all day long, including the top headlines, guys. Make sure you're running this stream and that stream to have a fuller picture of the market. And Ram, if I can also tell them about this, thank you. Come on, Ram, we're in tune. We're in tune. I love it, guys. We now put the voting, or we've now put the afternoon rundown in your hands. You guys can vote every day on the Midday Show using that exclamation point join space $, and the ticker prompt, and you can vote for your favorite ticker every day. Neil and Sean will cover those tickers for you, tell you how they traded it, what the look is, etc. between 2 and 2:30 every day. So make sure to have your say and go in and vote now. If you want to hear about the Katina Man's NVIDIA trade, go and vote for NVIDIA. How about that short that he has at 25 bucks? Go in and vote for GameStop if you want that. But every day, make sure you're getting your vote. Otherwise, we won't cover the tickers that you like. All right. Let's have a look here at some other names. I was thinking about getting in on Meta at 500. They didn't even come close. It dipped into 575. So Meta looks awfully strong at this level. What I am thinking about now, though, is this double bottom that's being put in on the soft one at the 20 period. It's trying to defend that 427-ish area. I like this 20 period retracement with the market heading higher. I'm going to go look at Microsoft for a long here, Obi.
Yes, sir. A lot of people in the chat talking about LMND, Bob Ross. Let's take a quick look at that one. Lemonade Inc. Let's see what this one is up to today. Is it doing volume here? Yeah, not really. It's not really doing too much volume here, only 300K. So I don't know if I want to really take a look at this one as of right now. But yeah, I was watching LUV as well. It's on the volume gainers list. Apparently, kind of gapping up this morning on news of what is it? Almost $2 billion investment stake in Southwest Airlines from Elliott. So. Investment activist here, so let's take a quick look at that one. Elliott Investment, so confirms nearly a $2 billion stake in Southwest Airlines, and look at that. It's definitely doing significant RVOL in the pre-market here, as look at that, almost 30x, 50 or 38, almost 40x RVOL, and doing about 15 off of the open. They're holding that 29.50, it would seem. So let's take a quick look left on the hourly, see if that 29.50 is of any significance. So maybe a little bit, because that seems like that area is that earnings day one flush there. So reference price off of earnings report, flushing off of those prices, and now on this news, on a $2 billion stake by Elliott Investments, we are holding that with that area with day lows as of right now, with LUV pushing towards highs there, Sharif. So I wonder if we can kind of, you can see that it did a quadunk on earnings, and prior to earnings, I think it had another quadunk. I don't know what this one was for, but yeah, that from 34 all the way down to 28. So there's a little bit of air post to that move all the way up into 33. So yeah, I know if we go to a daily chart here, I know people like to look for that gap fill, and that gap fill maybe potentially coming in at that 30.80, and if we can break that, the prior day's close before that is right in and around that 33.70 on Southwest Airlines. Now we know that airlines kind of reported, some of them reported a couple of weeks ago, so let's see what American is doing right here. So still kind of consolidating. It did gap down. I think last couple of weeks ago we had this trade on I forget what it was specifically, but negative news, obviously kind of flushing down, consolidating sideways as of right now on American Airlines. So let's take a quick look at Delta as well, and then we'll take a look at Boeing. So Delta not as I guess similar looking as those two names, but yeah, let's take a quick look at Boeing here. I've noticed that you want to be careful while talking about Boeing, or talking negatively about Boeing with some of the shady things that have been going on this ticker, or with the people associated with this ticker. But yeah, let's take a quick look here on yeah, it's very true. It's super sketch, man. I don't know. Here's the thing. We learn to read fugazi in the markets, and when it happens in real life, oh boy, does that stand out. But 192 high, 192.60s highs on the day, and a bit of a V-shaped recovery happening here on Boeing back down to 190s. But take a look at this. We've been in quite an uptrend after the strong quadunk move on the end of May here. Look at that strong trend there, Sharif. 170s all the way back up to 192. So going back up to say like an hourly here, let's take a quick look. You can see that we've been kind of chopping sideways. We know that they had some news it's been a couple months now, I think, of fuselages flying out, things like that, and interesting things happening after that as well. But yeah, the ticker, definitely a lot of opportunities to trade in and around some of these ranges happening here on a higher time frame on Boeing there.
All right, guys, you guys know what time it is. Once we get into that noon hour, it becomes that time for Neil's lesson of the day.
Buy the rumor, sell the news. Your lesson of the day today isn't the most obvious thing ever, which is just simply that fact, which I just pointed out. It's more along the lines of what does that look like? I mean, it's easy enough to tell anybody, okay, well, you have something which is highly anticipated. It could be like the NVIDIA 10-for-1 split. It could be the Apple event. It could be GameStop and Roaring Kitty having his live stream. So all of these types of things can be catalysts for the market. And then once the thing that you're looking for is announced, or the event starts, or you get the beginning of the day of that event, you can have these sell events where people are taking profit. So it's important to sort of understand what the difference between all of them are and how you can try to take advantage of them. So the first one, we'll talk about GameStop here because it was very, very unique. Now, I would almost liken the Roaring Kitty live stream to something like the WWDC, or when a company is presenting at some kind of an expo or something along those lines, where there is a specific time in a trading session or during a day when the market is open that you are expecting big news or an announcement or something that can move the stock, right? So it's very different from a split date where that happens and then Monday morning you're trading the pre-market and NVIDIA is splitting. In this particular case, GameStop, you knew at 12 o'clock on Friday that was going to be the big event. So if you looked at what had happened going into it, sometimes you can use the information going into the event, which I didn't, by the way, this is why it's a lesson of the day, as a bit of a key. So you know at 12 o'clock you want to key in on the price action. And if you're looking for a sell the news type of event, a lot of times it'll show you some signs of weakness early. And this is an extreme example of it. It spiked at 9:30 and went into a couple of up halts, gave up the entire move. And I want to highlight after it down halted the second time. So the opening range got put in at 10 o'clock and it down halted at 38. It opens up and then fails at $39. Now, if you are a mean reversion trader, if you are a buy the rumor, sell the news trader, this is key. Because right at or going into 12 o'clock when the live stream is about to start, it's at that same price level where there were already a bunch of sellers looking to take it out. So in this particular case, if your bias is buy the rumor, sell the news, it was showing you the level. Now in this very unique situation, when it didn't start on time at 12, there was a halt down. So I think, let's throw that out for a split second and then worry about once the stream had started. Because once the stream started, there was a bounce to the upside. And then you look at where this turned. Now, when we talk about the confirmation of the sell the news during the event, you look back at this once at the open, after it halted down, rejection 38.5, 39. Twice, right before the event is about to start, fail at 38 even. On a bounce during the event, it makes a wick high after that 38. We've seen it before with Meta had an event like this. Apple's done it with WDC. When there is a turn after the event starts, it just continues in that direction. And that's exactly what happened when you got the confirmation for GameStop here. Very, very key. You had the confirmation that not only was it a sell that day, but it was a sell after the event started at that particular price. There weren't buyers enough to take it past those key resistance levels. And as a matter of fact, today it's actually continuing to head to the downside. The other type of sell the news event can just occur means to a certain extent it did happen in GameStop today, or on Friday, right at the open. But the other place that it did happen is Apple. Going into the event, in this particular case, it got sold right away at the open. Rally on Friday, WWDC doesn't start until 1 o'clock, and then right at the open, it completely rejects. Now again, this is a situation where I was looking for the dip buy, so I slapped a fail on myself for that, but we're here to learn and then understand why might this have been a continuation. And the principle was basically the same as that GameStop. It took out immediately a key level right off the bat at the open and then proceeded to trend down. So last week's highs, that's 196.5 to 197. First thing it did, take out that level at the open, consolidate lower and drop, consolidate lower and drop. There was one potential breakout that just happened at VWAP, and even now it's starting to give it up. The difference in this case, however, is that the event hasn't happened yet. So whether or not we get that similar move into GameStop where GME came right back up to that resistance level that it sold at the open and then just dumped again. I don't know if Apple is going to do that, but that is something I will look for. If there is a pump at 1 o'clock that goes right back into the resistance level that dumped in at 197 and it curls at that price and it shows you resistance at that price, well then I would look to sell the news off of that price. Just following the similar architecture of what happened over in GameStop. And we've seen this time and time again. So you have to ask yourself, okay, well, what happens when sell the news doesn't work or it doesn't follow through? And I think the best example of that's going to be NVIDIA. You got the split, so our charts aren't split adjusted. Not that it matters. I don't think you need to in this particular case because it's just about the price action. Now, the difference between GameStop and Apple and NVIDIA is those were events, 1 o'clock, noon. In this particular case, the second you wake up on Monday morning, it's already trading at the split. So there is, the event has happened. If anything, you could argue that the event is essentially over Friday or Friday night, or you can call it Monday morning, the second you show up, or quotes go on, 4 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., whenever you happen to start. So you're already post-event in this case. At the open, there was the sell the news event. But here's where it turns out to be different. We talk about that first price where things get rejected. And if you look here at the open, it was right at that pre-market high. Sometimes it's that clean, $121. The difference here, when it comes back to that 121, and this is key because if you look at it, this is exactly where it broke out the high. So that 121 right at the open, because that's the only line that you have in the sand, it was a pre-market high, it was the opening range top. You had this one test, it breaks it right here, dips, holds a higher low, and then it's off to the races. Now, obviously, I'm not long in this situation, but I think as usual, the learning experience would be once it confirms that that sell event is done and it's not curling at that price. Remember, GameStop couldn't get past 38.5 when the event started, 39. It rejected it. So it fell back in. Apple couldn't get past 97. If it's carrying through past 1 o'clock today, then it's not rejecting it. It can be a long. But that's what happened in NVIDIA. It broke that top, and there is your hold of that previous level. And now all of a sudden, maybe the sell the news is done. But you didn't have that over-the-top conviction, I don't think, until it holds that high end of the range. So you want to see, once money is able to come into the market after the event, so either after it starts or after the open, key in on those prices. If NVIDIA had just broken that pre-market high and held that pre-market high, then you just, it's an easy long off that. But it actually turned from a sell the news at the open to a breakout long later in the day. In the case of GameStop, it simply confirmed multiple times at the open of the event, and then after the event was already in, that the same level of selling was going to be coming into play. And then for 2 days in a row since then, counting then and today, it's still been a sell. A similar thing with Apple, rejecting right off the bat at the open, and we will find out at 1 o'clock today whether or not that 197 level is going to get rejected. So it's trying to rally into the event, but we already got a rejection level. And if it sells up there again, it will not surprise me 1%. So you always look to those key times, those key prices, come back to them when the event starts. Do not ignore important price action at the start of any anticipated event. or at the open when an event is the beginning of the day. It's no different from at the open on an earnings day. It matters where the liquidity and the big money want to transact. So lots of different ways that you can play those event, buy the rumor, sell the news. You can do it at the open. You can wait for confirmation at key prices and trade it post. Or you can sit it all out and just simply learn. If you've never traded an event, when you have heightened volume, there's nothing wrong with just observing that first time through. If you've never seen the WWDC event, then just watch. Watch and observe, and then take action. You didn't have to trade GME during Warren Katie's live stream. But certainly if you weren't watching it, you were missing out on a learning opportunity to check that price action. It sold that same price enough times that finding the short was the right call. I'll admit I didn't. That's why it's the lesson of the day. So we're going to play these news events and we're going to learn from them every single day. Key in on key prices at open, event start, and then during event highs and lows. That simple. Observe, 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 and listen to what the market is telling you. Trade the news and trade it correctly.
Very much, Neil Roberts.
Very insightful.
Baby. Thank you very much, Neil Roberts, baby. Dropping hot lines every day. Neil Roberts, in and around lunchtime. Neil's lesson of the day. Make sure you're catching it, because, well, then you're going to miss it if you don't. All right, couple of things here before I throw it to Obe. I had a nice trade here on the soft one. I'll explain why I got into this one in a second. This was a 20-period retracement on the 5. There was really nothing more to it than that. Higher highs, higher lows, a period of retracement. On the 5-minute, I'll show you in a sec, it came into the 5-period exponential, and I said, great. The deeper retracements come into the 5, the more shallow to the 10 has been my observation with these trending stocks. So I got long, and we took 50 pennies on it before you could say, how do you do? So we got in at 80s, took everything out at 33. So I'm happy with this trade. What I'm unhappy about, and what I'm constantly unhappy about, is not having enough size and not getting it out the top. So I'll continue to be unhappy about that for a little while. Anyway, good trade so far right now on the soft one, heading higher. And I know Meta is really the big boy here. It is really doing things to the long side. META, is it at high days? Yeah, it just printed 502.49, coming into resistance level 2 on pivots. It ran through 1 like it didn't even matter, so I'm much more hesitant to want to use anything to do with pivots on the day. There was some respect earlier on here with the 10 period and with VWAP, so I could use those. But this is getting quite extended now. Volume weighted average price sitting at 497 2/3. This thing printed 502.50. So really kind of, you know, getting extended away from the volume weighted average price, away from that 500 level. I want a key area of support for this one to come in before I get long. Coming down now into 501 1/3, the biggest red candle, I guess, we've had in a little while here on META. Pack my patience. Let's see what this one brings. The trade I'm in currently, oh, I guess I'm out of it now. It just stopped me out. Crap. BNAI, before I could even talk about it, it stopped me out. And look at it, it's going right back above VWAP. So if this is a specialist breakdown, I'm getting right back in, because this thing has really respected VWAP, but you see at times there is that propensity to have that specialist breakdown and then move up again. You can see that over here at 11, at 11.05, and then it reclaims that level at 11.10. So I did get stopped out, but I can absolutely be persuaded to get back in if this one closes above the volume weighted average price. I'm talking about BNAI, up about 19%. I'll give you the deets on this one super quick in case I haven't already. $161 million market cap. The volume is absolute trash on the day. It is 1.75 million on a $5 name, but just isn't enough. 7.7 million share float. And here is the short float, Ram. Let's pull up the trade idea software, BNAI. We don't have, sadly, a short float on this one, so we'll have to speculate at the moment. And they look at it, come on, bro, right back up above 490s. That's what frustrates the hell out of me. I should have definitely had a tighter stop there. That is on me. That is nobody's fault but mine. There it is. I literally got bottom wick, and then it popped right back up. So we're going to get right back into this one, Obe.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat here. Rivian Millionaire Was it Simon T? There's quite a few people talking about SHOP and saying that can you please take a look at SHOP? And I did. Oh boy, look at this trend here. 161s all the way to 163. So this is quite strong on the day here. Held VWAP off of the open there. Quite, I don't know about clean, but definitely held a level here, 6180s, consolidation high in and around that 62s. Breaks that as well. Can't really get back to VWAP on this pullback, but take a look at this, Sharif. Friday's shelf high.
Oh.
Talk about a flat top break. Sure, it's not that clean, but when you've been consolidating all day Friday, going into the close for over 5 hours on a flat top, and you come in the morning, you make a consolidation there, and then now you're pushing up even higher. Yeah, SHOP is definitely doing a move here on the day. Very, very strong, it would seem. Let's take a look at a higher time frame here and see what's going on potentially if we look a little left here. So yeah, prior earnings consolidation highs here, right there at that 64 mark. So we are pushing into that earnings day one prices, day two prices as well, pushing into that 63. So yeah, I'm curious to know, does this look kind of like one of those smiley face patterns here?
Rounded bottom.
Rounded bottom, yeah. That bottom definitely looks rounded here. Nothing too, I guess. Yeah, the backside move is done on that one, on the rounded bottom, as we are pushing right back in and getting a little bit of a lift up into 64. 64 is here, that consolidation high from earnings day one. So yes, Shopify very, very strong on the day, it would seem, on Shopify. Yeah, what's going on?
I just want to remind everybody to vote, because we don't have too many people voting. Get into the chat right now. Vote for the ticker of your choice. It's super simple. You go in, you get into the chat, you hit that prompt that you see on your screen right there. Make sure to have a space between the word join and the $sign. And every day from 2 to 2:30, the Big Kahunas will be locked in to take your votes for the top requested names. They'll give you their look at it. If they traded, they'll tell you how they traded it, why they did the way they did. And if they didn't trade it, they'll give you their outlook. Make sure to get into the chat right now, hit that exclamation point, hit that, type in that word join, space, $, then the ticker of your choice. If you want to have a look at how the Katina man shorted at 25 on GameStop, get in and vote for GameStop. If you want to see what Neil did on FCell, get in there right now and vote for FCell. How about that Intel trade that Neil had today? Get in there as well. How about that, I don't know, $40 banger pre-split that the Katina man had on NVIDIA? It was a $4 banger, but we're just joking. We're talking about pre-split. Get into the chat right now and vote for NVIDIA if you want to see how the Katina man traded that. Every day from 2 to 2:30, by the way, we cover that stuff. And I want to also point out that we have one hell of a new podcast. Oh, did you hear about this podcast? It's called the Freedom and Wealth Podcast, Obe. Okay. And essentially what this is basically we're talking about stuff that isn't trade related. We're talking about the everyday hustle and how to have that mentality for that excess income on the side. And I got to tell you, I listened to this week's podcast, and to say I was impressed with the Katina man and Brendan is a gross understatement. They talk about compounding interest. They talk about the mindset that you need. And everybody knows the magic of compounding interest. If you don't, you might have trouble building wealth on this side of the world, okay? So make sure you're listening to this podcast every day. Or every week, excuse me. I cannot say enough good things about it. Shout out to the Katina man and the Brendo doing the absolute most in a good way. Shout out to them. And yeah, that's the look there. So all right, we're in this BNAI Ram, and we're in it again, even though we got stopped out. The idea here with this one, should I get out of this one, Ram? She doesn't care. She doesn't care. She just wants to know is her, anyway. Anyway, I'm not going to say. The whole point, though, of why I got in this was a VWAP hold. I did get stopped out of it. I was of the opinion that this was a specialist breakdown, but I may get stopped out again. We're long 90s. It's printing 91, so we'll keep an eye on that. Chef Joe, that pod was so good. Must listen. I know. Pretty Panda, oh boy, what a podcast. A little Katina man there, a little Obi-Wan Kenobi. It is a hell of a podcast. Trust me, you need to be listening to it. if you want to get that mentality right for that side hustle, for that trading, they go through all that stuff. Shout out to Brendo and the Katina man, doing a great job there. All right, what's your look?
Nothing much, man. Yeah, I definitely agree. I got to check that one out there. I was a little busy with a couple of wedding stuff this weekend, but yeah, I definitely will go check out that podcast. But yeah, mental definitely a strong aspect of running any sort of business, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's definitely worth a watch there. What's the saying? Mental maketh man, or no? I think it's. We can say that. Man? I think from that movie, I think manners maketh man, but
Actually,
we can say mental maketh man as well. But Softy coming back here into VWAP there, so a little bit of a pullback here on a few of these names. I am getting a little bit aggressive here with the NVIDIA, but with the market kind of pulling back into that 19.1, let's see what we got going on there. Amazon still chopping a little sideways up here, right underneath this 87, so we'll continue to watch that. Apple did have quite a strong move there, yeah, I did get stopped out. I had the idea for the long there in and around here, but I might have been a little too early there for the move. Didn't really risk to low a day where the real risk kind of where it deserved the real risk for the trade, makes a higher low, and then rips up through consolidation highs after stopping me out in and around this, I think it was what, 195.20s, I think, and then this low right here, oh boy, just above 195, 195.07, so I got to do a little bit better with that stop placement, but we are pulling back a little bit off of this 196. We did kind of wick it there, so looking back at it, a little bit of that strength off of Friday's move there. The end of day consolidation low is what we're pulling back off of right now. So that low just being right there at that 195.64, confluencing with this morning's or this midday's kind of consolidation highs on the Apple itself. Now we are. How far are we from that? So 30 minutes there, Sharif.
Yes, sir.
30 minutes away from Apple's event. And we just heard Neil talk about buy the rumor, sell the news, and definitely some news is going to be coming out on the Apple. And again, we were just talking about this earlier. We got FOMC this week. We got CPI this week. So let's see what the market has in store for us today and in this coming week as of right now. But yeah, Apple kind of consolidating above its kind of midday or morning session high here. This consolidation is the one I'm talking about here. It's a little sideways action on top of the 195, just pushing up to that 195.70s. We rip up, and now, as of right now, we are kind of holding above. Let's see if we kind of reclaim there. That 19.1, I'm going to keep an eye on. And yeah, as we get closer to that event, oh boy, is Amazon going to break this low here, this consolidation low, 186s, 186.16s right here. On the Amazon itself, so maybe we can go for a bit.
Soft one broke aggressively too.
Oh boy, yeah, that one goes right through VWAP right there. 426 is coming in on Softy. So let's pull that one up so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Look at that, nice little crush down to the downside there. This low right here, 425.60s incoming. What's the opening price, you may ask? I'm definitely asking that question. Opening is 424.89. Now, Sharif, you want to tell them that joke that you had me a little confuzzled about while Neil was doing his.
It's so bad. It's a dad joke, bro.
What are you saying? I could not understand for a second, but I'm like, huh? Because I keep thinking like, oh, well, something's being washed away on the charts. But yeah, you can tell.
No, because Neil said my line in the sand. So I look at Obe. I'm like, I hate drawing lines in the sand. The waves always wash them away, and he's just like looking. He's focusing on the trade, right? He's not even listening to me at all. He's like, it's just, and he's like, just laughing. He got it. I love it. I do that to Adair all the time too, and she's like super focused into a trade, and she doesn't get sarcasm all that well either. So it's like it's perfect. But yeah, guys, GameStop just made one hell of a topping tail candle. Wowzers, this is awfully bearish. And look at it, comes into that key area of technical resistance. That was the bottom area low, that 24.50. We put a topping tail. Oh, wow, that is an ugly candle there to make another low. 24.50 top, now 23.50, dropped $1 in a quicker than I can say, how do you do? And this was basically a flipping of support and resistance. Obe was talking about this earlier. I yap about this all the time. areas of resistance, or sorry, areas of support on a downtrend end up being resistance once they're broken and they're retraced to. The same thing as areas of support on an uptrend. When you're uptrending and you have a key area of technical resistance, once you clear it, sometimes, most of the time, especially on trending stocks, when you come back in, you test it and you hold up off it. Same thing happened here, 24.50 for GameStop, and then down it goes again, 23.55 LOD. That is one ugly inverse hammer candle there, topping tail candle through that level, and then down it goes again. I'm not commenting about the stock. I'm talking about the chart pattern. So please don't call me a suit or anything like that. I really am not, right? I really am just your average Joe Schmo. Anyway, Alessandro and I are talking back and forth in the chat. He was telling me, look, dude, BNAI, it looks weak. If it breaks 480, get out of Dodge. Alessandro, couldn't agree more. The only thing that you and I are disagreeing about is where the stop goes. I'll put it through the bottom of the lower area of this bottoming tail candle over here. Knowing that we held up at 76, I put it below that, so come what may. I'm looking for a hold at VWAP here. Whether or not we get a hold at VWAP on BNAI, completely out of my control. I'm looking at de-risk in front of 5, just in case 5 does act again as an area of technical resistance, and it did all morning. Look at this, reject, 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 topping tail, reject, reject. Finally, we break 5 at 11.50, and when we broke 5, look what happened. We broke right down again. So for a fact, I know that there's resistance at 5, so I'll be looking to de-risk if we make it up into the high 90s. What's going on there? Why are you saying let's go? What? $2 in the money, GameStop. Again, GameStop tanking again. The Katina man is $2 in the money on GameStop. So broke now again. We were talking about that 23.50 being the low of day. Nuh-uh. It's now 23.33 Katina man, and he's multiple dollars in the money because we know he's short at 25. So great trade there. GameStop, no bottom in sight as of yet on this name. So make sure if you're long, you know exactly what's going on. I don't need to tell you. All right, let's have a look now at some of these large caps. And did you see what happened with Google? We were singing up singles right Google's praise. Look at that. It held the trend line like a dang glove. So we were talking about this upper trend line really, being a bit of a damper on Google's up recovery party here off that 173-ish low. It's coming into 174. The closing print on Friday is 174.25. So I'll definitely be looking at that for an aggressive short, 174.25, 174.33, in and around that area. We know that it was basically down and to the right all day today. So we'll keep an eye on goggles. We're above 19.1. But as Obi mentioned, so many things coming this week. We've got the WWDC, we have FOMC, we have CPI. I know those are a lot of letters and acronyms, but they all mean something important. And that's why Obi was saying, why would we really reclaim that 19.1 when there is just so many undecided things? We're above it right now, so the market doesn't really care what we talk about. It's doing what it wants to do, Ram 19.1110 at the moment. We're trading at there, but okay. Before I send it back to Ob, I want to mention that Meta could be on the way back into 500. So we're doing a bit of a rounded top now on the Zuck train. Lower highs and lower lows incrementally on these 5-minute candles ever since printing that high at 12.15. It's been subsequent lows, subsequent lower highs. Let's see what we do at 500. The 20 period on the 5 is also hanging out at that 500. So let's see if we reclaim 500 now, not by that much, $2.50. Do we now use 500 as that level of defense? We'll have to wait and see. This candle has a low of 533 on the dot. So 503rd, the low on this candle. Let's see how far we get down, Ob.
Yes, sir. So a little bit of a chop in and around that 19.1, as you're saying. Now Amazon breaking down a little bit further there, so got a little bit more on that consolidation low break. Let's see what we do in and around VWAP here as the market looks like it's kind of maybe, or some of the constituents might be pulling back. We know that Softy is breaking below that VWAP. You know that Amazon, if you look at this on a 15-minute chart, we kind of consolidated chop, 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 and now we're breaking the low. So let's see if we can come in and around close to VWAP. What do I have as VWAP right here? 185.80s it would seem, so 185.80s. So we're just hovering about 10 pennies away from that one there. A little bit of trouble happening here for me on NVIDIA, as NVIDIA looking distinctly different, kind of pushing towards its highs, but Alphabet kind of pulling back as well. So let's see what we do with that 19.1 there, Sharif. But yeah, no, Softy. It seems like Softy was kind of the leader there in a bit of a pullback as it broke down. It was quite strong on the day, and yeah, it is kind of pulling back as of right now. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about here. But yeah, this one here is NVIDIA. This one here is NVIDIA. You can see that it is quite strong on the day. So I don't necessarily want to be fighting the trend on this one for too long. But take a look at Softy here. Softy on the 15-minute. You can see, look at that, breaking below VWAP. But that 15-minute chart was quite nice as we had a strong push after the open, and then we consolidated for a little bit there, and then continued to try to push towards those highs, but made a lower high, the high a day being 427.84. And look at this, a little bit of a low volume, but an increased volume pop towards high a day. 427.66 is a lower high relative to this wick that we got, and that wick got slammed down. We consolidated. We attempted to push that on some strong bars, and then we slammed right back in, and now we're violating VWAP, and now the price of interest I have right here is this 15-minute candle wick low right at that 25.66, only about 30 pennies away from that on the Softy as of right now as we push a little bit lower there. But yeah, here comes VWAP on the Amazon as well, so let's see what we got in store for that. But what are you guys watching? Killer Cam saying Apple 200 during event today. Who knows, man? It could very well happen. We were talking about who's going to get to 200 first, Tesla or Apple, but definitely I'm pretty sure I lost on that one. Not just yet.
You don't know.
Not yet, yeah. But we'll see. We shall see what happens after the event today, as Apple is pretty much in and around that price. This morning I looked at it in the pre-market. 197.97 was the high, and I was like, oh boy, just a point off of a couple points off of that 200. We could very well push that. As I think Apple's ATR is in and around $3.
Okay, that's
3 points. So yeah, I was like 3 points. We can do an ATR during the day, especially with an event going on. But again, kind of to mention what Neil kind of just covered. Maybe it's buy the rumor, sell the news event as we bid up into the event as of last week. Pretty strong close on Friday on Apple, and it seems like today we did come in and flush about, what is it, 197, so almost 198, all the way down to 195s. 184.83 is the day low on Apple. So we did flush quite extensively off of some of those highs on Apple. And yeah, we are kind of consolidating sideways right now, awaiting this event, which is going to be in 20 minutes, Sharif.
It is. I just took out 15 pennies there on GameStop, got short at 66s, wet my beak at 50s. This is for a bottom area hold over here. So for breaks above my entry, the trade is no longer right. And because I'm at the top area of the consolidation area, so let's see if this one continues to trend up. It's printing 65s. I don't want to see anything above 69s. Down it goes into the 50s. Let's see if we can wet our beak on some more profits. I'm short GameStop on here for a consolidation area top. This is going to be a short-term trade, and it is. So I'm getting out here for the remaining balance, break even on the rest. It looks like it's heading back up. I'll look to get in either at the 20 or the $25 area. I've got shorts thanks to Neil. Shout out to him. We'll see exactly what we can get on that. BNAI, we're break even. It's still holding this VWAP price, so I don't want any smoke from this one. At the moment, I'm not going to be adding here or anything like that, all right? Susu, Killer Cam, Joker, bro. This guy's just trolling me because he knows I don't like that. Shout out to Killer Cam, that's funny. Guys, I also wanted to mention we're doing things here. I know that Obe was mentioning VWAP on the Zon, and I'm very interested in this level, Ram, because it comes right into that 185, let's call it 75 area. We're printing 185, 85s here. Let's see if we can get some sort of proof. that VWAP will feature on Amazon. I haven't had any proof today that VWAP has featured on Amazon. We're about to find out. Now, I did get proof that the 20 was an important area because we got a couple of holdups at the 20 here. I got to tell you, my look today on Amazon really is without any significant impact from the moving averages or from any of these line indicators. That's just been my observation. Let's switch to the 15. Is that the case? Well, we're still the case with the 15. We're gonna, if we get a line indicator respect today, the first one will be VWAP, because I got to tell you, everything else is a bit of a reach right now. If you're looking to, you know, well, there was some respect here at the 20, but hard to say. AMZN. I'm going to be all eyes here to see if it holds up at VWAP. No question about that. Now, the other event that's happening here is Meta's retracing off that 502.5 close to $500. Now, these candles have all held up at 500 in the third. The 200 is a smidge above that 500. Obviously, the 20 is a smidge above that 500 area. The 20 period is dynamic, so it's not going to just be hanging out at 5. It's going to change as the candles change. So keep an eye on that. But we do have a lesson that we have to get to quickly here, and I want to do it a little bit before the event so that we could really focus on the event once it did start. So let's get to that right now. We are talking all week about these lesser known continuation patterns. So we're not going to talk about, you know, the bull flag and the bull pennant, or the bear flag and the bear pennant, or ascending wedges, or anything that, you know, is run of the mill. These are going to be the lesser known kind of continuation patterns, and the one we want to talk about today are these up and down thrusts. So let's get right to it. So technical analysis offers a variety of tools to help identify potential trading opportunities. These up and down thrusts, though lesser known, are valuable continuation patterns that can signal a trend's resumption after a brief pause. This lesson explores how to recognize and trade these two-part patterns for intraday opportunities. So the first one here is the up thrust. Essentially, the up thrust occurs within an uptrend. It's characterized by a sharp price move upward, followed by a brief pullback that doesn't erase the entire thrust. So what you can imagine is a bullish engulfing candle. A really big green candle that the next day there's a red candle, but that red candle that prints the next day is completely ensconced by the price action of the previous day. So that green candle, that thrust candle that we're talking about, has a higher high and a lower low than the red candle that prints the subsequent day. It's completely engulfed by it. That's why they call it a bullish engulfing candle. So that's kind of what I want you to kind of envision there. And there it is. So see how this candle over here completely engulfs this candle, but it's just the wrong color. That's kind of what I want to show you there. Now, the down thrust, essentially the same thing, but on the other side, it occurs within a downtrend. It consists of a sharp price move downward, again, followed by a small pullback that doesn't erase the entire thrust. So this will be a bearish engulfing candle. It will be a big red candle that prints, and then the next day you'll have a green candle that's completely encompassed by the price action of that previous red candle. And this is exactly what it would look like here, but again, these are switched. There's your red candle, and there's your green candle that covers it entirely. So why are up-down thrusts relevant? What about them are we trying to use here? Well, first and foremost, up-down thrusts help identify a potential continuation of the prevailing trend after a short period of price consolidation. We'll get to that price consolidation in a second. We call it the stagnation zone in this case. So it is signaling to you that the previous trend will continue. So that's one reason we use it. The other reason we use it is the entry opportunities. It's telling you that the previous trend is continuing from here on in. So by virtue of that signal that it's telling you I'm continuing, we know that this presents us with an entry opportunity, and that's exactly what it is. They offer entry opportunities for traders looking to capitalize on the trend's resumption. Okay? So two reasons. It signals continuation, and it tells us, because it's continuing from here on in, that this is a good entry point for you. So Identifying these up and down thrusts, how do we find them? First and foremost, you need to find an established trend. Whether that's up or whether that's down is immaterial. It works both ways, okay? The key element is an existing uptrend for the up thrust or downtrend for the down thrust. Use trend lines or moving averages, obviously, in order to identify the trend. That should be basic for technical analysis aficionados. You can basically look at a chart right away and know what the trend is. Then there needs to be a sharp price move. So you're looking for a sudden and significant price move in the direction of the trend, which for the up thrust will be an uptrend. This initial thrust should be a strong candlestick with a clear direction. And then you get this stagnation zone. So following the thrust, there's a brief pullback that forms a small bar with minimal price movement. This stagnation zone ideally shouldn't retrace more than 50% of the thrust. So how do you trade these up and down thrusts? Like, what's the move here? So the first thing is direction matters. Up thrust suggests continuation of an uptrend, so look for entry opportunities that are long after the stagnation zone has been broken out from. Conversely, obviously, down thrusts are signaling continuation of the downtrend, so you're looking for a short entry opportunity after the stagnation zone is broken to the downside. And then you're going to look at price action, obviously it goes without saying, but you also have to be looking at volume. The breakout or the breakdown from the stagnation zone, is it accompanied by above average volume? And the simple way to make that comparison is look at the volume bars in the stagnation zone. Is the breakout candle or the breakdown candle printing more volume on average than the volume bars that were in the stagnation zone? If it's yes, then you've got that requirement checked off. And then the third thing is here, your entry and your stop loss placement. So the entry for the trade should enter the trade shortly after the price moves decisively out of the stagnation zone. Place a stop loss order just below the stagnation zone for long trades, obviously, and place your stop above the high of the stagnation zone for the shorts, so that if it breaks above it, you know that the trade is no longer relevant at that time. And some additional tips here. You can combine the up thrust and down thrust with other technical indicators to help, gauge it the right way. You can use some momentum indicators like we've talked about in the past, like RSI or MACD, or moving averages to kind of just gauge the trend. But you should be able to gauge the trend by looking at the price action. And false breakouts. You need to be very aware of the possibility of false breakouts on these in these patterns, these up thrusts and down thrusts, because they seem to happen often here, and especially as you go down in the time frame, you come down from that 4 hour, you come down to that 5 minute, 10 minute, 15 minute. The lower the time frame you go, the higher the failure rate, OB, for these chart patterns, candlestick patterns, and patterns in general, OB.
Yeah, nice look there. Thank you. Thanks for the lesson there. Yeah, no, that kind of reminds me of like almost like exhaustion candles that kind of fail to exhaust, right? So it's like a failure to follow through for like an exhaustion candle. It comes up and shows up kind of like an exhaustion, but then it holds and continues in that direction. What's going on?
All right, BNAI is moving here, guys. So we did get that print at $5 on BNAI. Pleased with this one. We're long 490. It's printing 506. 510 is going to be my out here because the high of day is 523. But anybody who's been looking at this one all morning, guys, we know that $5 is a key area of technical resistance. The fact that we're above it now doesn't mean a whole lot to me because we were above it here and you saw what happened. So I'm looking to de-risk the majority of this position at 509. Here comes 509. We're at 507. Let's see if we can get that print. 523 HOD, but that was a quick wham bam. Thank you, 523. The real print looks to be at 515 on this candle over here. Say that again. $5. The Katina Man is $5 in the money on the NVIDIA long. NVIDIA is at high of day 123. I love it. $123 exactly, OB. And if I can say so myself here, beautiful, beautiful retracements into the 20 period on the 5 for NVDA. Shout out to the Katina, man. Great trade there on NVIDIA, brother. I hope you print more than you're already printing.
Yeah, so I overheard, I think it was Neil saying that Uber had some news there. So I did pull up Uber while you were doing the lesson there, and 69 halves all the way to 66, 67s there. Nice little strong quadunk off of that news there. Recovers a little bit there. Well, about 50% of the move has been recovered all the way back to 68s. Now, I don't know what the news necessarily is right away, but again, that wick on the 5-minute is quite aggressive. Let me just pull up here to see if there's anything. Neil, do you know what the news on that might be? They lost an appeal over give status. Gig status in California. Okay, so yeah, not really. The market's not really taking that too well right now, as it is flushing off of that news. Broke below day lows right here in and around what 68, 70s it would seem. So yeah, let's see how this move kind of continues with this negative news coming in on the Uber itself. But yeah, kind of jumped on top of that 19.1 as well here on the NQ, wicking back up. So yeah, a little bit of trouble happening here at that 19.1 on the NQ as well. So yeah, let us know what you guys are trading. I'm seeing in the chat Uzi Game saying AMD. So let's go over to AMD, see what's happening with AMD here. I know that this name has been on watch over the past few days. Did gap down. I did have it on radar in the morning there because it did gap down over some of last week's prices. And yeah, again, shout out to Sean saying that 166, 165s kind of being that area to short sell it. And we did have quite an aggressive pullback off of that price there, 165.55 is being the high a day there, and now we're trading below VWAP in quite a strong downtrend. So if you pull up the 15-minute here, you can see it a little cleaner there. Look at that acceleration to the upside right into that 165 halves, and then drops down quite aggressively back down into 162. So quite a move there on the AMD. I keep looking at Uber here. Uber's kind of coming right back into that 168. So definitely interesting stuff. 168 holding as of right now, but taking a look across the board, Amazon's still holding its VWAP. Microsoft is still holding below its VWAP, and Apple is taking quite a little bit of a pullback there. So only about 6 minutes to go for that event coming on there. Now, I'm not too sure about what kind of products they might be presenting, but I'm going to assume that there might be AI might be said a few times, the word AI, and I'm curious to know how some of the reaction we may or may not have to that in the market here. So coming right back into 195.45s here on Apple. So let's take a quick look at that one as I'm speaking. So look at that, comes into VWAP, can't really hold it for too long. 166 does a bit of a wick dance, and then pulling right back into this morning range here. So let's see if we can get that 195, 194.83 are day lows here on the Apple. So let's see if we can potentially take a bite out of that one a little bit later after the event or during the event.
Adair Panera puns. Take a bite out of the Apple. All right, KWE, shout out to Scott Edwards. You showed this to me earlier. You're calling it out again, Scott. You know, I couldn't trade this because of, you know, look, it retraced perfectly to the 50, but how would I know that 50 is going to be support there? It didn't feature earlier, but shout out to you. You had eyes on it, and it's continuing to recover. It was just this gnarly double top through 116. And I wanted no smoke after some of these topping tail candles and the subsequent red candles that followed after those topping tail candles. Alas, for whatever reason, 80 pennies seems to definitely have a buyer. You can see that there, held up twice there. So definitely somebody buying this bad boy up at 80 pennies, and we make our way up locally here to 97.5 pennies, the local high. We're still sub $1. You know, clearly, the bears have won this battle today with respect to whether we print or we stay above $1 or stay below, but the day isn't over yet, and we still have 3 more hours to trade on the trading day. So $1 could be an elusive target earlier. It could be claimed later. Keep your eye out on that. Currently, though, I got to tell you, Scott, I'm not going to get long at this at this level. We're kind of in no man's land here. I'd like a clear area of retracement. Let's refresh that, see where the 20 is. Yeah, you know, it hasn't even really been respecting VWAP, Scott. It seems to be price action, resistance and support. You can see that 80 was resistance there. It was resistance there again. And then funny enough, 80 acts as support. 80 is featuring here, and I don't know why, and I don't really care. But the fact of the matter is 80 pennies is absolutely featuring on KWE. Anything off 80, whether a long or a short, depending on where the price is coming from north or south, I think you should definitely get involved in this one. But that's my read, 80 pennies. I'll have to have something in and around there. Let's go ahead and put an order or an alert at around 82.5 pennies so I can kind of have forewarning about this name. BNAI is taking forever for me to print at that 510, but we're not below VWAP, so I'm going to pack my patience with this one. I've already de-risked the majority of it. All right, GameStop's at the 20 now, so this is interesting here. Let's see what GameStop is doing. This 24.50, that's where the 20-period exponential is on the 5. Again, this one has really had a dalliance with the 10, not really the 20, so I'm not going to use it at this level. But what I do see that jives with the 20, that's accidentally, I think, jiving with the 20, is this price action support over here at 24.5. On the way down at around 11.30, that's where we based out, retraced all the way back to 25 1/3 before we quadruped off that 24.5. Tina Man got in at that 25. He got in on these two candles over here into the pop. So we'll see exactly whether the 20 features right now. Right now it is. It's dropping from a half dollar into the fifth of a dollar, and it's coming down now into the whole dollar. So it just dropped 25 pennies super quick right there. So there is something here between the 20 period on the 5 and GME. It's going to be a short kind of a day until you really see a decided trend change here. I would submit to you, you don't have a decided trend change. You still have lower highs and lower lows, and just, you know, perfunctory recoveries here into key areas of technical support or resistance. So GameStop still is short, in my humble estimation. All right, let's see what else is popping off here. Oh, okay. So FCell below $1 again. This thing has been a little bit above, a little bit below. Keep your eye out on FCell tomorrow, though. It could be a day 2 play. This name, from my very limited memory, seems to be a multi-day player once it gets a headline. So today, it definitely got a headline. Let's see if it runs again tomorrow, and especially if it's able to claim $1 today. If it can close above $1, we have a different trade tomorrow with this name. VWAP sitting at 98 pennies. It's respected VWAP on the day earlier on anyway at around 10.20 and 10.45. We haven't been at the volume weighted average price since that time. 103, the HOD on FCEL. And here comes KWE into that buck, Scott. So shout out to you, my man. Good call out by you, Scott. But let's see if this one is able to take that buck on a closing basis. And if it does it use it as support? It hasn't. On these two previous occasions, both of these were fake out breakouts through that buck. They both ended up in aggressive retracements after that dollar break. Does that happen on the midday, though? When, you know, things are a bit more calm, the volume's a little bit less. We'll have to wait and see what we get on KWE. Let's have a look. Sorry, Ob, at this other one. Okay, so everything is clear here. Let's have a look now at these Mag 7 names. Okay, so now we know we're getting a defend of 500 here on Meta. Look at that bottoming tail candle coming into 500, but this is putting in a top, though. That 500 is going to break, eh? Okay, so lower highs, lower lows now on Meta into 500, and now we're below 500 on this. Okay, so interesting here, retracement on Meta. VWAP's at 498. I could be definitely persuaded to take 498 long because of this top that we had earlier on at around 497, 498. Okay, this is interesting. If we get a $500 breakdown here, we could easily see a $2 drop into that 498 on META, because that's a bit of a gap there, price action-wise.
Yeah, a little bit of a slam back into that 19.1 here on the futures. So we are taking a little bit of a pullback, and I'm watching Softy as well. Softy still continuing to push a little bit lower past its VWAP. Now Apple event should have started
now. I got the message from Brenda.
So Apple event has started as of right now. So let's quickly go over to Apple here, pull up the chart, see what's happening here. Is anything showing up on the tape? Is anything happening? I was kind of holding this NVIDIA NVIDIA a little bit against me, but it's some interesting action here at that 123, almost looking like an infinite reserve as so much volume just went into that 123. So when we did pull back a little bit off of that, again, going into the Apple event with the slam through 19.1, I did add in a little bit there, but I do have to be a little bit more patient to kind of see and observe that action before sniping that 123 fail. As we attempted to push, we went 123.10s and then a little bit of a pullback here with a confluence with that 19.1 break on the market, but a lot of volume happening there at that 123 on the NVIDIA itself. So let's see if we take a little bit of a pullback here, but the trend is strong on the day for sure. So yeah, we'll be awaiting now for this Apple event. I see that Sharif does have it pulled up there. What's going on?
So people were jumping out of airplanes. Now it's Tim Cook standing on the top of the Apple building, ensconced by solar panels everywhere to his left and to his right. He's talking about WWC. Obviously, I'm not gonna, repeat verbatim what he said, but we also have a 3-year note auction, guys, that we just printed. So it looks as if here, day trader cut says 3-year note bid to cover actual 2.430. The forecast was 2.630. So we had the market move down. We know that some of these auctions take a little bit of time to be digested by the market, a little bit higher, a little bit lower. So we'll see exactly what this auction brings. It is a 3-year note auction, so a shorter dated yield. Definitely, definitely not one that I cover, but one obviously that's important for the market. So now he's introducing Apple TV Plus. That's the first order of business that he's talking about here. Not what I'm waiting to hear about personally. I want some AI stuff. This isn't where I expect a lot of AI, but we're going to keep this. We're going to keep you updated on this. And they've got closed captions on this one, so it'll be easy to see exactly what he's talking about. So WWDC started. Let's have a look at what Apple is doing here, Ram, as it is off lows. Okay, so back into 196 we go. Let's see now if we can break this consolidation area top. We've been below 196 and a fifth, essentially, since this morning print over here at 935. So it's a consolidation area top through that 196 and a fifth, 196 and a quarter. We'll have to wait and see exactly what we get. He's talking about the different shows that they're going to launch on Apple TV Plus. All names I haven't heard of, but I don't watch that much TV to begin with anyway.
Fair enough,
right?
Yeah.
They look amazing, says Ram. In addition to Steve Jobs being in my ear, I've got Ram in my ear as well. So, she'll let me know when anything's good. So Apple already mentioned intelligence. Yeah, I don't think that's what they meant, man. Daniel, Apple already mentioned intelligence. No, we want a little bit more. We want a little bit more. So Apple, yeah, above 196 again, hero, but we're gonna have to keep eyes on this market. The market retraced above 19.1 again.
Yeah, a bit of a bid there, right back above 19.1 on that push. So let's see, we gotta stay a little bit nimble here for any changes that might come through. But Apple pushing back towards its highs. Here comes that 123 on NVIDIA again. Amazon bouncing off of its VWAP as well. So we were looking for that VWAP to come in. It did come in, held it quite well, and then now we're pushing back up towards those highs there. Highs kind of being right underneath that 187 on Amazon there. So what are you guys watching during the event? Are you guys watching the event itself? Chase Band saying Apple 200. Yeah, that could potentially happen there. I don't know about by the end of the day, but it could very well come in. And again, if anything is said, we will definitely be keeping an ear open for that one there. But the market coming in real strong there. 196.21 is that consolidation high on Apple. So let's see if we come in and break that with any sort of conviction here with the Apple event starting as of right now. So now I know that during the event we could experience some sort of volatility, some sort of things of strong action there as we just showed. We also had a bit of an auction number come out as well. So with Apple being one of the market leaders, of course, we do have to watch its price action to see if it can kind of pull us around a little bit, tug around the tickers. I'm also watching CrowdStrike here. CrowdStrike getting a little bit of a curl as well back down to the downside. So let's pull that one up. See our WD. So yeah, look at that. Nice little, it kind of wicks that that day high there and then comes right back in. So let's see if we can get that VWAP test, 378 happening there on CrowdStrike. What else am I watching? I'm watching some of those other S&P ads as well. KKR was another one of those. And yeah, nice little strong trend all day happening on KKR. Another one was GoDaddy. So let's take a look at that one. I think that's GDDY, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, sir. It is. So a little bit of a, not really a similar kind of action as KKR or CrowdStrike, because it's doing more of a sideways action there. So it was kind of attempting for a push maybe with that first 3-minute candle I have here. Nice little wick off of that 140, bounces up. 143s, can't really get past them right now, but sideways on top of VWAP for GoDaddy. And Waystar, we were talking about that one as well. Waystar Holdings, I did get long initially, comes right back in, stopped out of that one, but it seems like that 2150, that 21.5 there, Sharif, it seems like an interesting level as Waystar continues to hold that piece of price. That was the IPO price, right? So I think, again, we were talking about some of those underwriters. JPM, Barclays, and Goldman Sachs are the underwriters for Waystar, and it seems like some of those levels are being held quite nicely as of right now. Let's see what we do with this 19.1 there, Sharif, because again, we did kind of pick up off of it, but we are pretty much trading right there in and around some of those levels, so haven't really gone too far. Softy coming right back up to test VWAP now from the underside. So let's see if we can make some lower highs here on Softy, and I'm looking for the same on Amazon and Nvidia as well. Alpha as well. The goggle itself, maybe a bit of a turn as we take a look at the goggle. Still within trend, but again, we're looking at some relatively increased volume versus what we've been doing over the past hour or so, and we are headed right back towards VWAP with the NQ chopping in and around that 19.1. So we're right back on top of that 19.1 as of right now, Sharif. So might be poised for some sort of action, but I don't know. Sometimes you got to wait for the event to kind of end to get that selling off.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to make any sort of assumptions or speculations.
Well, we can't sell off quite yet because we don't know what they have to say. Once we get all the information, we've digested it, then we can say, okay, this didn't meet our standards. Out we go. So we'll see. I'm long. I printed on it already, took 15 pennies on it, super quick there. They're talking about the new OS for Vision Pro. They introduced it by saying that there's 1,500 compatible apps so far with Vision Pro, in addition to the plethora of other already compatible apps from the iPhone. So they're talking about Vision Pro so far. I don't think this is why the majority of people are here. This is obviously some sort, the future, but maybe in a different form factor. I'll be all ears. I think that this is a pretty cool device. Not that I can afford it or anything, but the point is, they're incrementally making their way to the announcements, so it seems. So starting with Vision Pro, talking about the new OS. And, we were a little bit surprised this morning at the desk, anyway, at least I was, that a new OS was coming for it, because I think it just got released in February. So usually the turnaround time is a year. Now, with respect to this trade, it's going to have to hold up at these levels, because this was a consolidation area top that we couldn't break through, that 196 and a fifth. So that's why I got long through the break of that top. I wet my beak, as you can see, in the high 30s. The next out for me is going to be in front of that, or below, excuse me, not above, that $0.50 area on AAPL. So I'll print, or I'll be looking to print, excuse me, in the high 40s there. They're still talking about Vision Pro, talking about the equivalency of having multiple 4K monitors in your screen and stuff like that. I don't know who this woman is, but she's talking up a storm about it, and good look there. So we'll keep eyes on AAPL, no question about it. Let's see if we get that print move up. BNAI is the other trade we were involved in, and still really waiting for this one to make a move. It did initially, but unsurprised that it had trouble with 5. It's had trouble with 5 all day. So I had a print there to go, or to take out everything at 509. It made its way up into 508. And didn't print any higher. So BNAI making me really wait this one out. Okay. Now they're talking about APIs for the Vision Pro as well. Volumetric APIs, not like I really know what that is. All right.
Yeah, those.
Yeah. Yeah, those.
Yeah, those. Of course. Come on.
Obe. No, we got a lot of.
I have no idea what those
some of the
are.
traders, they write code. Like I see Joe all the time writing code. I know Wainers does as well. Patty, eh? Okay, Patty writes code. I didn't know that. A shout out to Big Patty Ice.
It's definitely. I think that's definitely an integral part of kind of evolving with the markets, becoming that hybrid trader, kind of being able to use, just Python and other. I think there's PineScript as well, programming languages to kind of assist you with your trading. Now, I'm not as well versed in programming, but again, I got my friend ChatGPT to help me out with some of that stuff, as it makes it very, very straightforward to do some basic programming using ChatGPT there as well. But yeah, no, I do like that. I do like that people are adapting to changing markets. Again, we're not only facing other players, but we're facing algos as well, and anything and everything that can kind of increase the edge. And using that technology factor as well, definitely a part of being a good trader, I would definitely say so myself. But Spider pulling back in.
Yep.
Breaking the trend, you could say it's breaking the trend. So let me just show you guys what I'm talking about here. So, oh boy, yeah, it is kind of breaking down.
Oh yeah.
There. So yeah, look at that. So this again, just a line on the chart. But look at that, nice little wash, and we're coming right back in. So a break of trend indeed on the Spider itself. So let's see if it falls down that spout it has been climbing all day long on the SPY. But yeah, so 19.1 coming right back in. We did kind of break below these prior lows here, just above 1980. But yeah, no, NVIDIA quite strong. They're just holding, knocking on the door.
Apple's tanking.
Okay, yeah, there goes Apple. Nice strong wick there. Are you watching that?
I'm watching. No, I'm not. I got out for the break.
Okay,
Once it broke.
Great sells, man.
Yeah.
Well, a reason to sell up there.
It was a technical trade. But this top end had to hold. If it didn't, that was the end of the trade. Big Kyle, $5 super chat. Big Kyle Burdett. I know a thing or two about volumetrics and consuming apple pies. I love this guy, bro. Ultimate troll. A great sense of humor. Shout out to Big Kyle Burdett. Look, they haven't said anything. Yeah.
That's a good one. I like
Matan Gordzitsky, why Apple go down? Because we have an event called WWDC, Worldwide Developer Conference. It's a big event for Apple, widely anticipated by analysts and market participants alike, that there will be big announcements during this. So oftentimes when we have these big announcements, and even during them, before even the announcements have been made, we get a lot of action back and forth, some high, some low. So be ready for a lot of volatility, my man, on Apple. I'm talking to you, Matan, since you asked. AAPL. It's doing the dance right now with 196, a little bit above 196, a little bit below 196. I haven't heard anything novel quite yet. They're talking, yeah. Okay, maybe I'm behind, Katina, man, because I still see them talking about Vision Pro. So it looks like my feed is a little bit behind. Canada is going to get the Vision Pro July 12th. Not like we didn't have those on Facebook Marketplace already, Obe. But yeah, maybe they won't be marked up as aggressively. All right, here we go. Now we're going to go into the OS. I believe, says the Katina man, the news of on OS. Now, this is for Macs, right? We know iOS is for the iPhones and the iPads. So here's another dude, Craig Federighi. I don't know how to say his name. Yeah, I am behind. And I hit live, Katina man, and it's still not up. Yeah, I'm on the Apple website.
The website might be a little faster because YouTube sometimes is a little bit.
Oh, okay. You're watching on the website, eh?
No, I'm not watching at all. I'm only watching the tape here.
Please,
yeah, Alphabet kind of curling back in. We are getting a bit of a sell-off. Look at that sell-off here on the NQs and the ES as well. So a nice little strong pullback there. So is it faster on the website?
Ram's gonna send it to me.
Cool. I think you just go apple.com.
Okay.
Apple.com is the website on there, and it should be playing right on there. NVIDIA pulling back off of that 123 again. So we did kind of a bit of a hold of the ask. So I don't know who's holding that ask at 123, but that ask is definitely being held, and we are kind of pulling back off of it. Let's see if this market tailwind brings in a bit of selling here on the NVIDIA, as the spider's already started. I am short on the Amazon from quite a while back underneath that 187. Let's see, we are making lower highs that we talked about. Let's see if lower highs come to further fruition there as we kind of retrace some of that strong move that we had in the morning session there. So, but yeah, that reversion on spider looking quite nice. We are trading about a point up below the high of day there, Sharif.
I agree, Ob. So a couple things I want to point out here. 498, that 498, 497-ish area on Meta is going to be very interesting for me, just because we really had that kind of consolidation top in the earlier part of the day. Then we really got that big breakout. Then the roundy top comes in. Shout out to the NOS boss and big Kyle Burdett, who loves that rounded top and bottom. 498 is where VWAP is hanging out. I'm going to be looking to go long at 498. I'm probably going to have a resting order because Meta doesn't really give you a lot of time at a level, and it's awfully spready. So sometimes you get filled, sometimes you don't. So 498 is interesting for me on Meta. And this is very interesting here on Google. So we drew this channel. The channel has been respected all day by Google. Here's VWAP. 173.50. This is an interesting long for me on Google. I'm going long Google here, and I'm going to have my stop below 40. So it's going to have to hold this trend line. Otherwise, I want no smoke from goggles. So let's go ahead and change Microsoft into Google over here, and let's just have a look quickly at what we're doing. All right, so 173.40 is going to be my line in the sand. Let's go ahead and put that in there, and we're going to put it at 39s. And then we're going to go like that. So we're long goggles at this level. It's at VWAP. It's the bottom end trend line. I like this level, come what may.
Yes, sir. So we are getting a little bit of increased tape speed and aggression here on the NVIDIA as it pulls back quite aggressively. Again, I was saying that somebody's definitely holding the ask there at that 123, and with a bit of market tailwind as well. Let's see how far we can get back down. We did retrace about 50 pennies, but 50 pennies on NVIDIA, I don't know if that's anything too significant as of right now. But let's see if we can break trend similar to that of the spider there. Spider definitely breaking trend of its morning session. But again, it could just come right back into VWAP and hold above. It could just come back into some of these prior days levels as well, as we did kind of chop and turn around. I did mention that 535 might be an interesting price, and we couldn't really get back above that right there as of right now. But 533.85 is VWAP on the spider, so let's see if it kind of climbs down a little bit further. But yeah, goggle as well. I know that Sharif is long the goggles. The goggles kind of breaking that 15-minute trend as of right now as well. So a little bit of weakness here, a bit of a pullback, but let's see how long that'll last. As at 19.1, still again, yeah, you sure you break down below it, but we are still in this chop zone, in this kind of a consolidation area, roughly after we did break through some of this morning strength there as well. Watching Amazon, still in this Amazon here, holding VWAP as well as of right now. Apple pushing back up. 196 is on Apple right now, so it is kind of consolidating in and around some of those prices. So let's go quickly to see what that 1 minute chart looks like on Apple and see what that reference point is for the event start. So the event started right at 1 o'clock. So let's take a quick look at that 1 o'clock candle here. So a little bit here. So 1 o'clock started, we did bid up all the way up to 196s, and then came back in on a strong quadunk here into 195.60s, and now we're holding that VWAP as of right now. So I don't know what they're really talking about there, Sharif. I'm gonna have to go to you on that one, but it seems like whatever is being said, there's a bit of a bid happening there on Apple.
Oh, sorry, I'm just listening to, I was listening to what he was saying. He's talking essentially about hiding certain apps. You know, you can have like this, if you're embarrassed about using certain apps, you can hide them. This isn't AI news quite yet. Now he's talking about connect your hairdryer. Okay, you're gonna be able to connect your hairdryer to your iPhone, guys. Not something that I really care too much about, but you know, we're gonna have to listen to all these news items as they come. I'm looking at Apple as we speak here. I was looking to see whether I can kind of gauge a trend change. We still haven't broken through those local highs that we put in at the third of a dollar. I think we got into 40s and printed no higher, but we didn't make a newer low either. That dip brought us into 195 and 2/3, and we retraced that move right back up. The trade that I'm currently in, though, Google still holding VWAP, but doesn't have to be like that forever and ever. This could break down. We're already 2 pennies out of the money here as it's printing 57s now. So VWAP's going to have to hold up, or we're going to take no smoke on GOOGL. My stop's already in place, and we're going to let that one do its thing to see whether it trends up or down. But if I had to look right now on these markets, a lot of stuff coming down. What is it, Ram? Text formatting? You can schedule your texts to. You could already do that, but it wasn't a simple way. Forgive us, guys. We do have fire alarm testing today on the floor, so that's what you're hearing right now. The building that we're in, there is some testing, so just bear with us. I do apologize about that. Oh, that's right. It's not about power. We're actually losing, or it's not the fire alarm. We're actually losing power for 5 minutes, 1:55 to 2, and so Branko's wanted everybody to be flat on the floor.
Okay,
2 p.m. to 3 p.m.
Okay,
let's figure that out.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so I guess that's definitely a key piece of information to know there. So got to be flat before that. Sounds good. Good to know. All right, so Softy, breaking that wick. We were talking about that wick on Softy. And that wick is coming in right there. I do want to get a little bit more here on the right side of the V, potentially here on Amazon. So I did do that just now. Let's see if we kind of come in and make some more lower highs. We were talking about potential lower highs happening here. We did make some lower highs. We are trading a little bit lower, and with the market looking slightly a little bit weaker than the morning session. Let's see if that can come into fruition there. Let's see what we do in and around that VWAP. But let me pull up this Softy here to let you guys know what I'm looking at as well. So Softy, this is the 1 minute. Don't want to do that. But yeah, look at it on the 15-minute. You can see right here a little bit of a wick that happened on the 15-minute. That gave us quite a strong green candle here, reclaiming VWAP and then pushing towards that day high, and then a nice little trickle up on lower volume and at an attempt to day high. But now we come right back in. So right here, I guess if you kind of take a bit of a trend here on the Softy, we have broken trend. We have come back right back in to VWAP, and we're trading a little bit lower. So let's see if we can get back through this wick right here, and the opening price we identified earlier as being 242.89. So let's see if we can get all the way back down there. But again, we'll have to see what the futures have in store for us. But yeah, look at that nice little break of that now. Now we have broken below that wick. Let's see what we got going on. With only 5 minutes left for this 15-minute candle to print, let's see if we make some lower highs across the board as well. Oh yeah, something else I do want to mention is the goggle. Look at that, right back into VWAP there, 173.5. So a nice little break of trend coming right back in. So yeah, quite a few things that, again, with the market that have confluence and strong betas with the market have broken trend. We talk about the SPY taking a little bit of a breather as well. You can see it happening here on the ES as well. Bit of a pullback. We had back-to-back greens on the 15s. Sure, we had some reds in between, a little bit of dojis there, but the pattern did continue as we had some strength back to the upside, and now we're pulling right back in to 53.58 here. A bit of a wick happening on the ES as well. So let's see. I'm looking for a pullback here on NVIDIA. Will I get it? I have no idea, but I am positioned a little bit for that. And Alphabet taking a little bit of a quadunk as well. Let's see how that goes on.
All right, I hope we have an important announcement for everybody, for all the viewers. We are, our building is going through a bit of a power outage. It's a scheduled power outage from 1:55 to 2. It's going to be between then. The power is going to go out between either 1:55 or 2. It could take up to an hour and a half to return. We're unsure how long the power is going to be out. So at 2 o'clock or around 2 o'clock, you may lose the stream. We will get back as soon as we can. You know, it's not just about a matter of the power being back. We have to restart all the systems that have to come back online. So we're really sorry about this. It's completely out of our hands. Obviously, goes without saying, it's the entire building. So 1:55 to 2, the stream may go out. Bears versus Bulls, if you can kindly remind everybody, I do appreciate your help. Always the world's greatest moderator there. Just let everybody know that, you know, we could be out, sadly, because of the stream. Could be. We're unsure how long we're going to be out for, Katina Man, but I think we will be definitely out because it is scheduled to be a power outage. Kevin Mendoza says, "I blame Randy."
Yeah.
or
Mark is saying
Ram's fault.
Yeah,
Ram, it's your fault.
Yeah.
The chat's blaming you.
Darwin's saying, "I'd like to speak to a manager." You know?
Darwin is an OG.
Okay. But yeah, no, definitely, you definitely got to stick around as the market's going to stay hot. Apple event. What time does the event finish? What is that?
Who
scheduled
knows?
For? Okay,
Who knows?
so
Yeah.
Apple event may or may not be happening still in and around that time. But look at that, nice little quadrunk, nice little fresh lows with respect to the prior candles here on the NQ and the ES, as well as we take a little bit of, again, like I've been saying, bit of a breather back to the downside. And Softy, oh boy, Softy kind of just holding there. There goes Apple, accelerating a little bit there to the lows. So let me pull up this Apple chart here, put it up on the side so we can take a look at this. We know the event is going on, buddy, so let's kind of watch this price action here. I'm not really watching the tape anymore as of right now, but we shall see what it does towards this day low here. Day low being 194.83s, and we are accelerating to the downside. So what is she saying, Sharif, that I have no idea?
She's talking about going back to years and days in your pictures, using AI. You can already do that. This is already a thing. Do you have an iPhone? No, you don't. I remember. Yeah. So like, I can basically go in right now into my photos and be like, hey, show me pictures of dogs, or you know, I don't know, cars, or even license plates, man. My old
from your history.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. You just type in license plates in the search. It brings you all the pictures with license plates on it. Anyway, 195. This. Hold on one second here. The low on this candle for Apple, 195.11. So it does defend that 195 area. Did come down to 11. This was an area low. You'll see that around from 11:45 to 12. We were at this level. We're bouncing off aggressively. So it looks like a good key area of technical support at this level. So we'll keep eyes on that. Brendo also sent me a message here with respect to PayPal. So let me read that one out. PayPal no longer on Apple Tap to Pay. Okay, so we kind of knew that was coming, dude. We said that Apple wanted to kind of
there it goes.
PayPal. Yeah, take it, Ob.
Yeah, look at that, PayPal. So as soon as you said that, I know that there's going to be some spicy action happening on PayPal right away, especially if it's being taken off of a service from literally one of the largest market caps in the market.
Dang.
So a little bit of a slap to the bid there. From 67.40s it was trading at, now trading at 66s. So the next question I ask is, what's the ATR on PayPal, and how much? Okay, that's not it right there. So BYPL, slow it down. It's okay. All right, 164. So a point and 64 cents is the ATR on PayPal. And what is the move that we've done? Intraday news, absolutely beautiful opportunities usually happening on intraday news. So we've done almost an ATR there. 164 I have. This has done about a 145 move down, and we're wicking right back up. So yeah, quite an extensive move. Let's see. Definitely algos are going to be all over this stuff. Definitely day traders as well. So let's see. I don't know the significance of the news, but yeah, it definitely sold off quite aggressively on that news there. And again, a little bit of market tailwind as well, as we've been speaking of. Markets taking a bit of a breather. 122s coming in now on the NVIDIA. Now, I was talking about like how I got to be more patient. I got to adapt do better at adapting that sniper mentality. And the significant price action that happened here on NVDA all day, I think, was at that 123. It attempted to push. It was trying to push, but that ask was held quite aggressively over and over again. Now, I have all of this tape here that's filtered for over 5,000. And look at all the volume that went on in the 80s and the 90s that traded right underneath that 123 on Nvidia. So definitely a lot of volume happening there. And then we pull back along with strong market trends. So let's see how far this move kind of goes. But I got to do better at kind of getting in the most after that action, and then maybe looking for a pullback there, as we are only testing the consolidation lows there. So if this is really going to crack all the way down to VWAP there, I'm looking for these lows right here, 121.70s, to kind of break there along with this market here. Still short on this Amazon here, just waiting, patiently waiting for a track to explode on. I mean, VWAP to come back there. Shout out to Eminem. But yeah, Spider pulling back as well. I'm just waiting for the next trade. What's the next trade? Tobias talking about GME. Let's take a look at GME, and of course our friend AMC as well, to see what those tickers are up to here. So we did break below that 26, which was prior day low. Aggressive selling to the downside. You can see that volume expansion coming in through the break of that prior day low at that 26 right there, and then now we're consolidating 23s to 24. So oh boy, seems like VWAP sellers are definitely there. We know that they have a sell program potentially going on as well, with that 175 million share offering by none other than GameStop itself. So they're definitely, I think they're definitely not going to be done selling in 1 day or 2 days. It seems like some of these sell programs tend to go on for a few days at the very least, as they're not just going to dump 75 million shares all at once. Now, I don't know, but I definitely think that would throw a wrench in the mechanics of the market every now and then.
Man, I'm just watching this 195 on Apple, trying to figure out exactly how this is going to go. But I'm long Meta at these levels. The idea here is to hold VWAP at the level. My out is going to be the break of 498.20. That was the consolidation area low. I put a beak wetter at 499s. It came up into 499 on that wick, but didn't cross. We all know how spready Meta is. So I'm going to pack my patience here to see exactly what happens. Apple doing the dance with 195. I want to see how this resolves. If we get below this level and stay below it, I'm definitely going to be looking short. No question about it. But the market just got a bit of a hammer candle here. Yeah, I'm really unsure how to kind of play this whole thing here with Apple. Looks like that 195. There's a lot of bamboozlement right now. A little bit above 195, a little bit below. Here we are. We're doing the dance. A lot of buy and tug of war between buyers and sellers at this level. So I think it behooves me just to slow down a little bit and to wait for the key technical move. I'm watching the event right now. They're not, they're talking about, what is this? Insight? They're talking about Insight at the moment. So we'll see exactly what that brings. Okay, here we're still holding that 195 on Apple. I mean, what I can do is get long here and then just put the stop a little bit below it. It's just, it's a little bit of a gamble at these levels. So, yeah, I think I'm going to steer clear of trying to go long Apple at 195. In fact, it does look like a bit of a short, but, I'm just really unsure at these levels. So I'm not going to get involved with it. I already got stopped out a couple of times trying to take this bottom end over here. And so we're negative on Apple now after being positive on it. So I don't want to give back any more money. And I'm going to pack my patience to see exactly what we get. Now, the Meta trade is the one that's kind of, going against me a little bit here. Here comes 20s. If this breaks 20s and I'm out, it's going to have to hold this level. And yeah, it looks like I will get stopped at a Meta, despite the fact that we almost got that print at 99. So yeah, it sucks to be me. Here come 20s, and they're going. It's going to go. 15s are printing now. If it crosses on the ask, then I'll get. There we go. So we got stopped out. Now we're negative on the day because of this, but we're going to have to fight back. And so that's the fact of the matter is we're going to have to look to see what the next trade is. Shout out to the OB, the one, the Canob.
What is the next trade indeed there, Sharif, as Apple breaks through its day low there that we were talking about, 194.75, accelerating to the downside. Oh boy, there it goes on Apple. So let me just pull that back in here, that chart that we were looking at right here. So let me just... That's not it. That is not it either. But yeah, look at that. Wow, look at that. Nice little slam through some of those lows there. Yeah, Friday was quite a strong trend. You can see that I had have a couple
Wow,
of
there it is.
on from Friday's trend, but we are looking at nearing Friday's low or intraday low at that 194 here, and that's where that strong trend happened. That buying came in throughout the day on Apple, but that pre-market low as well, 193.45 is happening. That we did a V-shaped recovery off the open, pulls back, can't really get to those lows, and then the bid catches and we trend all the way up to 196 halves. Pulls back into VWAP, and then more strength up into 197. So look at that, 197, can't really get even a point above that mark in the pre-market today, and then slaps that bid right off of the open there, looking for further prices lower. There it comes in, 194 coming in there, Sharif. Are you trading this name? I see that you are short.
We're about 50 pennies
in the money. Nice.
We're going to cover
there,
here,
Sharif. Let's go.
All right, we covered right there, so we get a little bit back on the dead one, but I'm still negative on it. The truth is the truth, so we're going to have to keep watching this. 194 incoming here, The whole dollar levels are going to be key areas of technical support and resistance for me. I know that Apple's has plenty of these levels that we can chart because it's been locked into this area for a hot minute. But there we go. Sell the news event, widely anticipated by a lot of people that would be the case. We're going to have to see how long that lasts for, by the way. I'm still looking at Meta, guys. I still haven't given up hope on Meta. It's still at VWAP. If this starts curling back up and showing me green candles, I'm going to get back long in this name over here. This is the META trade. I don't think it's broken below the technicals yet, so it's going to definitely need something from the future to push it right back up, because right now it is headed right back down. There goes Apple again. This is a short the pops kind of day on the dead one. AAPL, sell the news event, baby. Was saying that the high this morning, I believe you were saying, was near 198, 197,
yeah, 197
high 90s?
Yeah, 197.97.
Yeah, so that is that's the look there. So 194 incoming here. AI mentions so far, Brendo just messaged me this, zero AI mentions so far. So Apple doing the absolute most, as they always do, so secretive is Apple. So right now we're selling on really nothing to do with the AI or the lack of AI catalyst here, Obi, as Apple at 194.03 now, LOD right now.
Yeah. Like I'm just watching. I should have the tape up here. Okay, so there's about a bunch of boy. Okay, here we go to the downside, accelerating 193.80s. Oof, I am definitely missing out on that tape there, but I am closely watching both Amazon and Nvidia here. But it seems like the party is at that Apple at the Apple Store right now. 194.80s. Look at that crack right through the lows, and the selling can't stop, won't stop, don't stop through, and that's 19.1. We were talking about that 19.1 being a little interesting there, and it kind of comes in. What a beautiful reversion that's happening here on the markets, NQ and the ES alike, and yeah, that Apple definitely pulling in, that softy helping along as well, and yeah, that Nvidia as well. Of course, the Spider and its constituents. We're talking about them as well. Spider breaking some of the trend levels from earlier as well. Let's take a look at our friends. Wow, KKR. Brand new highs. So yeah, definitely disconnected.
To the S&P.
Yeah, getting added to the S&P,
yep.
Pushing fresh highs as the market tanks. So where might be the buying pressure? It seems like it might be on KKR because it's definitely getting bid up. Again, June 24th is the date that is the interesting date there for some of these ads. Again, we're talking about CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike pulling back up into its previous all-time highs there. Previous all-time highs being in and around that 378, and it is pulling right back into that 378 as of right now. But yeah, that Apple, Sharif, oh boy, is it coming in. 2150 still holding on Waystar, so that's definitely an interesting level as well. TSM never got past that 170, and that's pulled back as well. So we're getting a bit of a pullback. Let's see if we can take a bit of a breather on the market. It's only about 15 minutes for us before this power thing happens right here.
Oh my God, it's 140?
Yeah, it's 140.
Dog, I did not feel that time go by. Guys, I just got printed at 510 on BNAI. I'm pleased as dang punch about this trade. We got long over here at 491's first beak wetter, 5, second beak wetter, 510. I had to pack my patience for this one, no question about it. But that trade is done now. It's back near highs, 24%. 24.5%. Nothing to disrespect here on BNAI. But I also have another trade set up on the Zuck train. Oh, come on, bro. Stop distorting me. The Katina Man is short Apple at these levels, 194, 193, high 90s. Yeah, shout out to the Katina Man. The Katina Man is short the dead one here at the top end of 193, 194s, and he's looking, he's already 50 pennies in the money there. Shout out to the Katina Man on that trade. Big Kyle, Apple Watch 191.75, weekly anchor, and the 20 SMA daily there. Shout out to Big Kyle. I want to read that one out. I'm also looking at going long on Meta through the break of 499. If we get a 499 break and take, then that will be, you know, a kind of getting it on the back end, as Neil likes to say, so to speak. That'll be a new 5-minute candle to make a new high and a holding of the volume weighted average price. I've set a resting order to go long on the Zuck train through the break of 499. I'm sorry about this wick candle over here. I will fix it for you guys in a hot second. What is the low on that candle? So the low is 498.65. What? Oh yeah, 498.65. That's easy to fix there. Ram, look at that. Super quick. All right, so the break of this, and we're going long on META, but it's going to have to break that level for me to get long. Tesla is on the way down. Tesla's at low of day, guys. 174 and a third. Heading down, rejecting off the 10 period multiple times. The trade we definitely didn't have eyes on today. But as Apple goes down, some of these other ones going up. I'm talking about goggles right back in to that 173.75. Meta, I keep talking about 499. We'll see if that comes. But look at this. The Amazonian sitting next to me over here. And Amazon, did you see this top on Amazon?
Yep.
186 and a quarter. He's got it right up there. Who am I talking to? I'm talking to the Amazonian guys. Right, so he's got eyes on it.
Off those vines at the highs there, yeah.
Do you see the flip area of support and resistance?
Yeah, right.
Don't you just love that kind of stuff?
I took more through that break because I'm like, yeah, definitely some players are going to be offside through that breakdown, and it did work well as it came right back down to VWAP. And I covered nothing at VWAP, but again, I'm looking for lower highs with the market kind of turning as well. And Spider pulling back up a little bit there. So we are getting a tad bit of relief here. Amazon did bounce off of its VWAP there, and a bit of a pickup here with the 193.40s being the low on Apple. So yeah, it did have a strong quadrunk there on whatever may or may not have been said, and then nice little pop up right back up through 194s, testing 194.26s right now on Apple. So let's take a quick look at the S and the NQ. Didn't really quite get to that 1900, but again, we pulled back off of that 19.1, and we're giving it a little bit of a push back up as of right now. So let's continue to watch this Apple move there. They're still talking, I see on Sharif's screen there. So yeah, Apple event is not necessarily over as of right now. So things could still stay a little bit spicy. So let me know what you guys are trading in the chat, and we can take a quick look at those as well. I know that we just took a look at Tesla. Rivian Millionaire saying, yeah, long Amazon. Yeah, perhaps if you were off that VWAP there, that was a good trade as of right now, as we are pushing up off of that VWAP. And people talking about GME. So yeah, it's been quite a while since we've looked at GME, and by quite a while I mean about 5 minutes. So let's take a look at GME once again and see what our friend GME is up to right now. So GME still holding this consolidation, just going sideways in and around this 24. It's done quite an extensive move off of the open as well, fading off of VWAP. Again, it's interesting that it just goes right into VWAP and then straight selling back down. That 27 might have been a little interesting as it was this consolidation low here, 27s, and then look at that acceleration back down with expanding volume through that 27. So I definitely missed a trade on that one, and it seems like we are in quite a strong downtrend as well on the GME. So let's take a look at our friend AMC. I know we didn't do that last time. Let's see if that is kind of rhyming with the GME's price action. Yes, indeed it is. gets above in and around its VWAP and then sells off as well. So prior day low on AMC in and around that 470, 478-ish level on AMC. Yeah, 478 right there, and then we do kind of break below that, holding below that as of right now there on AMC, Sharif. So the event is still on, right? So
yeah,
they're still talking. I was just saying how volatility could still be present here as the event is not yet over. But as we come into the close of the event, might be getting some action there as well. Again, CPI, FOMC this week as well.
So many
things. A lot of things happening. Reversion man will be coming on Wednesday.
Yeah, speaking of the reversion man, he's reverting Meta back into this long, and we just got a nice little print there, Mr. Kenobi. 50 pennies in the money now. Let's go more, baby. The Zuck train looks like it's back on possibly into that 500 level. At least that's what I'm hoping. There we go. Go, Zuck. There we go. Nice trade. All right, pumped about that. Hey, but I got a crappy print because I use a flattened key, Obi. That's why you shouldn't be dumb like me and use flattened keys. Have these limit orders over here. And we got a print at 80s. Okay, so that's not a bad look. 492.20, 18 actually, and we took in 80, so that's a 60 penny winner. I'll take that one. Decent on the Zuck train there. META headed right off the volume weighted average price and on its way back into 500 bucks or so, it seems. HOD on this one, 502.49, essentially 502.5, up 1 1/3, looking for more. But the event that everybody, you know, and the name that a lot of people are looking at, and the volume checks out with that as well, is AAPL. It's done 42.1 million shares on the day. It's number 2 only, you guessed it, NVIDIA. NVIDIA's done 221 million shares on the day.
Boy.
And I'm assuming that's probably because of post-split, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's the look there. So we'll continue to watch that. Now, Apple. Here's what I'm thinking here on the dead one. I want to use 195 now as a level of resistance. Now, if we get into 195 and we reject, okay, so then that's a clear short setup, this, that, and the other. But if we get into 195 and we break it aggressively, that to me is a sign to go long. So I want to see exactly what happens at this 195. It looks like it wants to retrace to test 195 again. And we definitely had multiple touches, multiple dalliances with that 195 level this morning. It really all started around 9:50 a.m., continued through the afternoon, 11:45 till around 12. Then we broke it decisively there, although we held up above it initially right there. So this 195, very interesting area. But I want to remind you guys that there is a scheduled power outage for this building. It is scheduled to take place in about 7 minutes. To either from 1:55 to 2. We're unsure how long we're going to be off the air, but the likelihood is we are off the air for a little bit. It could take up to an hour to recover all the systems that we need to load up. We're really unsure at this point. So Bears versus Bulls, again, sorry if you could just remind people, the world's greatest moderator, baby. We may be off the air for a little while. Again, we're going to find out exactly once it happens, but that is the schedule right now. All right, Apple is back into 195, guys. So decisions here, Mr. One Kenob, because this is the level that we kept yapping about, and now I want to see if we get a break or take. Is it going to be a break and take, or is it going to be a rejection? I'm not going to decide quickly. I need to see exactly how this all plays out because I already got caught up on a couple of times.
Blasting off.
The futures are flying here, Ob. Unreal.
Yeah, I got to stop out of some of this stuff. If the futures are going to fly like that, that's absolutely wild there. Futures right back up towards their highs there. And again, with that power outage coming in, I do have to get a little flat here on everything. But yeah, seems as if, look at the ES there. That just slapped up to those highs there. But yeah, Apple 195 trading at right now. It is the NQ is pushing right back above that 19.1. So congratulations to those longs. I think somebody was like, oh, long Google and long Amazon as well. So yeah, markets are pushing towards their highs on the day. Let's see if we kind of break out of some of those levels here. So I'm continuing to watch a little bit of Amazon here. I do have to be flat in about a few minutes, so I might as well just get out of this one and reassess afterwards as you know. don't want to stick around if we're going to be
Yeah, that's a good call.
having a power outage and I can't even see the positions. Not really going to be able to manage them as well as as I want to. Can't be managing them from the shadow realm, right? So 19,120 is in and around the highs there on the NQ. Spider kind of bouncing as well. Oh boy, look at that. Yeah, it's kind of bouncing, buddy. We just blasted through the highs there.
Spiders?
535, just coming right back in. So prior day high is at 536.90 as of right now, and we are attempting to push off of that. That was a little bit of some strong action there. It seems like I did get out as we start wicking back down again. Classic, right into the capitulation. Thank you. But let's see if that 123. When we get back, I'm gonna be curious to know whether or not that 123 held over time in the blackout. But yeah, let's see what you guys are doing. The other is saying boring WWDC. Yeah, that WWDC kind of sounds like WWE. Definitely came in with a slam down of that Apple through its day lows and then reclaims it. And yeah, it seems like that reclaim is bringing in the bid on the markets here as we are blasting through some of these highs. So that was pretty crazy there. Yeah, the Thrill is saying pretty smart of them to work on the power during work hours. Yeah, right? It's kind of...
well, it's a residential building,
yeah.
guys.
Yeah,
we have the first floor of the building. It's a residential building, though. And let me tell you, I live in a condo as well, and they don't give about your schedule or anything. They're cutting power, they're cutting water at all times of the day. Believe me, been there, done that. All right,
This is business, apparently.
Yeah, I know, really, right? I'm going short the dead one here. Let's see if we can get an entry. All right, we're short at 93s. Let's see if we can cover in the low 80s, and there it goes, Obe. Come on down. You're the next contestant on the, I don't know, I got nothing here. Let's keep going down a little bit. I've been basically scalping this. All right, nice move here. Let's see if we can get 20 pennies in the money or so down into the low 70s. I'm seeing a lot of chatter from you guys about the absence of AI, and I couldn't agree more. I haven't heard all that much specifically about AI. They've shown AI features and stuff like that, but nothing specific that would really kind of like, you know, get you super excited. If this one breaks 195 again to the high side, we're going to stop out for a 7-penny loser there. It's really going to have to hold below 195. If we keep getting this zigzagging, then that's the end of the trade. I'm not going to trade this one. I need to have a direction. Is it going to be below 195 or above 195? Right now it's showing me below, so I'm trying to pack my patience. I want to wait for that low 70s print. I'm going to wait at 74 because my parents got married in 74. So let's see if that is...
There goes Way.
Eh?
Way is blasting off. Okay,
nice.
yeah, damn. All right, so definitely did not give it proper risk. Way is going to 22s right now, so it did break out of that 21.5 mark there, and look, it's accelerating to the upside. So I did not have eyes on this one, but look at that volume that comes in on the 21 break, coming into 22s right now. So let me just pull up the tape on that one. Waypoint. All right, so let's pull it up here as well for you guys to see. So look at that, about 161 lots sitting on the ask at 22s. But yeah, oh boy, did I miss that one? That 21.5. That must have been quite a break. Aggressive volume coming in on that. You can see it here, right there. Look at those towers right there of volume bars that are just blasting up through that break and come in. And now we're testing 22s here. So how far will it go? I have no idea, but it seems like a bit of a successful IPO by JPM, Goldman Sachs, and Barclays as well on this Waystar Holdings. Apparently, they do so. They cater to the health sector, some sort of software. I think I'm not too sure there, but yeah, let's take a quick read right there. Engages in the provision of healthcare organizations with mission-critical cloud software that simplifies payments. Hold on, I want to read more of that. Simplifies payments. Its enterprise-grade platform streamlines the complex and disparate processes healthcare provider clients must manage to be reimbursed correctly. So there's a payment program for healthcare services, it would seem. So I guess a PayPal for hospitals maybe, or healthcare services. Interesting, nonetheless. But Waystar breaking through that 21.5. 21.5 was the IPO price, and we are now trading above it on day 2 there, Sharif. So definitely interesting price action. We only got a couple of minutes before we were going to get a bit of an outage here. Are we on a power surge or something? Are we protected?
I got to tell you, you know, I kind of echoed all the instructions that I got from the big kahunas. I'm talking about Brendo, you know, Mark, all the individuals that we have in the back end here. That's what they told me. So I only know as much as I've been told. All right, guys, I've been looking at Apple here, and you know we have a segment where you vote and stuff like that. We didn't push that too much with you guys today. Well, because we weren't sure we were going to be live. But yeah, there is a next segment coming up in about 5 minutes. If we're live, obviously we're going to go live and just continue along with the show. And then we'll basically, you know, we'll have to see about this whole power outage thing. But I'm watching Apple at these levels. I'm still watching the WWDC. They're talking about incorporating iPhone notifications on your Mac. Not exactly groundbreaking. They're talking about the Mac right now. It's all Mac related stuff, so it's all OS stuff. It's really the iOS stuff that I want to hear, because I want to hear about a possible super cycle for the iPhone. I still haven't heard it yet, but again, you know, I'm doing the show, so I haven't heard exactly everything that's being talked about. But I got to tell you, Microsoft has gotten an unusual pump here during the Apple event. And I don't know if this has anything to do with the fact that, you know, perhaps there was concern that there would be anything between these two. But anyway, Microsoft bounced off 425, made its way up into 427. It's still within these areas of possible technical resistance. We had a trough there right at 427 at around noon, and we're holding up right there. Simultaneously, we're having trouble with 195 on Apple. I'm not going to do anything at these levels. I need to see a decided rejection or take of the level. We're also getting a 500 holdup on Meta. So I'm happy I covered my position there. 500 RAM is an important level on META. It's unable to break it, at least currently. What else we got? Tesla still heading down. You know, very sideways the majority of the afternoon, essentially since around 11 o'clock on NVIDIA. Sorry, hasn't split adjusted yet. There you go. Very sideways, basically 120, 175 to the low, 123 to the high. So about $1.25 worth of range there on the monster NVIDIA. And goggles headed right back up above 174, maybe coming back into that 174.25. We've been talking about this level, 174.25 all day, because that was the closing print on Friday. We haven't gotten there yet. Anyway, on goggles, 3 minutes left here, and I'm unsure exactly how. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna have to let you close off the show, because I'm gonna make my way up to the green screen to get ready for the next segment.
Yeah, sounds good. Great show there. Yeah, so don't know when this power outage is going to come in, but we'll continue kind of, the show will go on until that does happen. But we're getting a bit of a pullback here, so I guess as of right now, I did stop out on that pop. Might have been a little too aggressive of a stop out, but you can see the market's kind of pulling right back in. NQ wasn't quite able to get to its highs on the day, 19,120s. And some change there is a wick high right there, but then we do get that blast right up and then comes right back in. So it would seem as if, as of right now, we're making lower highs there. Only about 1 minute left to go on this 15-minute candle here as that candle closes, along with the midday show. Again, how to trade, and hopefully you guys got some knowledge today. Sharif talking about the thrust candles, and I definitely got a little thrust out of that one. As again, we talk about capitulation, and then this is kind of like potentially the opposite of it, where it looks like it and then it kind of continues in the same direction it was going in there. But yeah, hopefully you guys had a good session there. Again, market is not closed yet. It's still got 2 hours until the bell rings, so definitely going to be interesting going into the close as well. The Apple event, I don't have eyes on it as of right now. But again, that did bring in, we were talking about bringing in that volatility, and that definitely did bring in some volatility there in the markets, right? And then that 123 holding that ask as well didn't really quite get back right up there. So maybe NVIDIA is not done as of right now. I will keep an eye on it as well. Again, Amazon also. So yeah, thank you for joining us there. Got to pass it over to the big kahunas as of right now. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Without any further ado, I'm going to pass it over. Take care, guys. Have a good one.
Welcome to this afternoon rundown, this segment where you decide what we talk about every day. Sean and Neil, they're locked in, they're loaded, they're ready to look at the tickers that you decided. But before we get to that, the future is just coming off highs there. The Q's at 464. We saw